Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man Mark. Excuse me, it's your man Mark Black. What's good? Welcome to Sucka-Free Saturday. Probably the only place online this weekend where motherfuckers is gonna keep it real. As usual, fam, I'm glad to have you here with me. Lot to talk about, and I'm gonna try to keep it short on my end because I want to hear from y'all. There was a lot of people that I know wanted to call in the last time and just didn't get a chance to get that done. So we definitely gonna make it a point to hear your voices because I know there's a lot that you guys want to say about what's been going on. Let's before we get into it, let's do some house cleaning, right, fam? Make sure you check the links in the bottom of every video, right? In the description field, there's links to different resources. As a matter of fact, for all my ADOS brothers and sisters, I've had a link to this, The Half Has Never Been Told, which is Yvette's book club book this month or whatever. I've had a link to that. Hopefully you've taken advantage of it. Clicking through that link takes you right to Amazon, get you a good price. It also helps me. It's like an affiliate link or whatever the case may be. So if there are books, fam, that you want access to, you know, let me help you get them. And you can also help support my channel by clicking through those links. There's also links to reports, resources, etc. And if you haven't done so, right, consider becoming a supporting member of the channel, right? As it stands right now, let me go and check, but as it stands right now, we have 9 supporting members as of today, and I'm going to give them a shout out as per always because they deserve the ultimate in love. So let me go ahead and holler at my supporting members here. Shout out to brother Hemias Mora, who I hope is doing well. I don't see him in the chat, but as you know, he recently suffered a loss in his family. So shout out to brother Hemias. Shout out to Sister Black Magic, Sister Kimberly. Back to the Basics is in the chat. Love you, sis. Welcome. Sister Monty is in the house. Cool Unc, I see you, fam. Miss Denny, of course. Taj, Sister Taj, and Sister Rhonda. Right? I want to give them an extra special shout out as I do every broadcast for those who support the stream. Again, fam, I understand our finances and moving forward for many of us, we might not be able to call it. But if you can and you value my work, that's a good way to do it. Click that join button down below. So let's get to it. We've got Miss Denny's in the house. Brother Blackman is in the house. Richard is in the house. Peace. Let's see here. Sister Tiffany is in the house. Sister Lisa, salute. Sis, I see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Back to the Basics, of course, is in the chat. Brother Gregory, yeah, I saw that shit. We're going to talk about it. Darker Visions, of course, is in the house. Sister Taj is in the house. John is in the house. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome. Jesus Price is in the house. Love that name, by the way. So, family, it's official. Van Jones is crying like a bitch. Niggas is banging pots and pans in the street. We have yet again helped to support another Democratic candidate to the presidency, aka Jim Crow Joe R. Biden and his trusty sidekick, fellow crime fighter Chameleon Harris. Looks like they will be the next administration. And I have to admit, fam, all that's left in me at this particular point is just sort of a cold rage. You know, our esteemed ancestor, James Baldwin, said that to be black in America and to be relatively conscious is to live in a constant state of rage, right? And as usual, the almighty Baldwin nailed it in one. If you are right now in any way aware of the ramifications inherent in a Jim Crow Joe presidency, you're pretty pissed off. And as I said in the last broadcast, right? If you're angry, upset, frustrated, this is the place for you right now, right? We're going to go through some therapy for quite a few, quite a few broadcasts, fam. Quite a few broadcasts. Now, there's a couple of things I want to address right from the get-go. And so I thank you all for your patience and your forbearance in allowing me to address this shit. Because back to the basics, you damn near, you right as rain, right? Jim Crow Joe is not changing. For all of you fools who tried to sit here and tell us that, you know, hey, we can elect Biden and then hold Biden's feet to the fire. Come January 21st, 2021, Jim Crow Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States with all the concomitant power that carries. Meaning that should you hold his feet too much to the fire, be prepared to go to war, because he will use the resources of his government, of his administration, to smash you if it's possible. Now, I, for one, have no fear of that whatsoever. I, unlike many of you, am not afraid of the president. I'm not afraid of the government. I'm not scared of what they might do to me. I welcome the challenge. I am glad that we have finally installed a new president, because I'm ready to kick some ass. And nothing would please me more, as your brother and one who loves you, to bring home this justice claim under the administration of one of the most racist pieces of filth that's ever sat on any seat in any office in my beloved country. Nothing would please me more. But make no mistake about it, fam. If you thought that we had escaped what our ancestors faced, you have a whole nother thing coming, fam. If you thought, by the way, shout out to my esteemed brother Double Cease. I see you, fam. I'm gonna let your comment read out when it pops up. So, but if you thought we were gonna escape the crucible, if you thought that we were gonna not have to pay our generation's blood price to get our due, fam, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where you've been living. So,
what's good, esteemed family? PPLR all in a uproar over nothing. One thing I learned is America has mastered the switcheroo. Jim Crow and Camilla.
That's right. They've mastered the switcheroo. Mastered, hell. We are the living embodiment of the switcheroo. The change up. The presto change-o. The okie doke. You know, for me, it would be one thing if our support of Joe Biden was in any way able to be assigned to any strategic move by our people. By the way, thank you, Sister Lisa. I appreciate the love. You know, if we could do a deep dive and take a look at the numbers and see strategically that supporting Joe Biden well in the upper 80% when you average out both black men and black women was in some way strategic. But I think you'll find later on in the post-mortem, when we crunch these numbers, that simply put, black Americans bought into the same narrative that was fed to us by the pale stream media, that orange man bad, he gotta go, him gotta go. So orange man gonna have to go, barring any, of course, legal changes, right? Because of course that Trump is not going away quietly into that good night. He's got legal challenges and things like that he's working on, and who knows, right? But as it currently stands, President-elect Jim Crow Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Chameleon Devi Harris are going to be the 46th administration of this country. Okay, cool. There's nothing strategic about it. We yet again indicated our political thraldom to a party that at this point isn't even pretending that it cares about white citizens. Yeah, no bullshit, fam. There was a meeting, a conference call with the Democratic leadership after the election Tuesday, right? And on this call was various Democratic politicians, some of which lost races, others won their races, but had concerns about how this whole thing played out. Let me pull up for you guys. Give me a second here. I'm going to try to see if I can find a little bit of information. Here we go. We'll check out the Hill, right? Give me just a second to go to the teaching screen. Democrats post-election family meeting descends into chaos, right? We're going to stop this stupid video shit, right? But here, already, you can see evidence, fam, that the Democrats, at least the moderate, the corporatist Democrats, the ones who get all their funding from Raytheon and from Wall Street, from Big Pharma, etc. You know, the ones that want to keep the money train going. Because you do understand that the Democrats at this point are simply controlled opposition to the Republicans. They're both the same party. See, fam, opposition would require that you get your support from different sources, right? You and I can't be in opposition and we both live in the same house and get fed by the same folk. That's not how this works, right? Me and you beefing, but mama paying the bills and putting food in the refrigerator for us both. We can't really be in opposition. Sure, we can argue, but at the core of things, we ain't really at each other's necks. We both draw sustenance from the same source. We both sucking milk from the same tea. Well, the moderate, corporatist, establishment Democrats and the Republicans are both sucking off the same tea. So how in the hell can they truly be in any way opposition? But I digress. Let's read through this a bit. Moderate House Democrats lashed out at their liberal colleagues Thursday, using a marathon caucus-wide conference call to bash progressives for advancing an agenda that, the centrists said, cost the party a number of seats in Tuesday's election. An impassioned Representative Abigail Spanberger, who squeaked to victory in Central Virginia, took liberals to task for promoting the policy of redirecting funds away from police departments, an idea that took off following the death of George Floyd in May, and that Republicans used on the campaign trail to hammer Democrats with charges of nurturing crime. Pause. So basically what Congresswoman Spanberger was saying was that idea that we went out there in the streets this summer and bled for black folk. We got tear gassed for, we bled for. By the way, shout out to Michi, I see you, fam. Shout out to Big Unk, and also shout out to my beloved sister Kimberly again. Welcome to the broadcast. You know, the idea of taking funds away from these killer motherfucking cops and putting those funds towards resources to help with mental health crises, with helping people to address their situation with jobs and getting food and housing and shelter and resources. You know, the shit that actually causes a lot of the crime in our communities, right? Defunding the police and taking those resources and putting them towards helping our people to live and survive. Pissed these motherfucking Democrats off. She called the campaign strategy a failure. Nancy Pelosi said, I disagree that it was a failure. We won the House. Because, you know, all Pelosi cares about is maintaining her spot as Speaker of the House. Fam, I don't know how many of you who supported voting for Democrats down ballot and all this other shit really understand the reality of how the Democrats work. But I'm going to learn you something. Speaker Pelosi was chosen to be Speaker, not because she's able to take disparate ideas that make up the Democratic Party and unite them all as one Democratic caucus. No. Nancy Pelosi is the Democrats' greatest fundraiser. She's able to get all the goodies and help anybody who's running for office to get the goodies. She's going to put you in front of the faces of the kleptocrats, the oligarchs, the plutarchs that buy politicians that actually own the government. She's the font from whom all blessings flow. That is why she's Speaker. Because everybody in the Democratic caucus is beholden to her. Without Queen Nancy's imprimatur, they can't raise money. And if they can't raise money, and we ain't got no money, what do you think most Democratic races are going to turn into without it? That's why no matter how progressive, no matter how forward, right, no matter how future-oriented some of your Democratic candidates are going to be, until there's some method or means by which we can get all of this dark money, all of this corporate money and shit out of your government, they ain't gonna stay unbought for long. Mark Vesey, Democrat in Texas, delivered a similar condemnation, lamenting that the far left's approach to several issues, including moving funds away from the police and banning fracking, had given ammunition to GOP attack ads. VC said he had watched GOP commercial after commercial using video footage of Democrats uttering the words defund police to great effect. So Mark VC, which by the way is a black man, so he's saying that the issues that matter to you, right? Having a clean environment for your kids to grow up in, you know, not having poisoned water like they do in Flint and many other jurisdictions throughout this country, right? Having the means to be able to protect and defend yourselves and your community from the onslaught of the paramilitary police that occupy our neighborhoods is a problem. He's more worried about looking like he actually opposes the Republicans than he is about actually taking care of you. Absolutely. That's a fact. What we can see from this family is simple. All this cheering on of the black vote, all this black people saved America, all of it means nothing. Any issue, even the smallest issue that you think is important, black people, my beloved tribe, any little issue, you know, ideas like funneling resources away from the police to help your community. Ideas like ensuring that you have a clean environment and a safe environment to raise your babies in. You know, basic ass issues the Democrats are already backpedaling away from supporting. Already. Of course, we've already had Vice President-elect Kamala Harris come out and tell us directly that she wasn't going to do shit to only benefit black people. No. We already had Biden say that immigrants in the first 100 days, especially, children of illegals, have legislative priority. LGBTQIA plus has legislative priority. What else? I mean, I ran out of all the shit that gets legislative priority within the first 100 days of a Biden administration. But I did notice that there was one thing conspicuously missing from that list. And that was you. No. What you and I get is the opportunity to cheer. We get to be out in the streets during a global pandemic, by the way. Drumming and banging on pots and honking the horns. We did it, fam. We got rid of Donald Trump. Them Democrats owe us now. We saved America. I wonder what they're gonna give us. Of course, it's maddening to many of you, because to many of us, we were saying that was a question that needed to be asked and answered prior to any fucking vote for Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris. That was the key preeminent question that was asked or should have been asked collectively and answered before a single fucking vote had been cast. This isn't a case of black folk being strategic, right? This isn't a case of us having done the analysis free from emotion and fear and willfully, as a block, having chosen Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris, like Brer Rabbit did when he told Brer Fox, "Don't throw him into the briar patch." "No, Brer Fox, don't put me in the briar patch. I'll do anything as long as you don't throw me into the briar patch." No. This wasn't that. This was black folk mad because white folks mad and supporting whatever white folks around them, which is usually liberals, told them to support. By the way, shout out to Flavor Doza Jane. Shout out to Sadell P. Shout out to Jared's Viewpoint. Hey, fam, I see you. By the way, that was a great broadcast. Fam, if y'all haven't checked Jared out, please click on his name in the chat and go and support his work on his channel. Jared's Viewpoint is dope. Make sure you support your black media family. Yeah. It seems that we're still in the era of thinking that because we get a vote, we can always pick a better master. Fiddler and Steven are rejoicing in the slave quarters tonight, fam. I'm not happy to see that. Shout out to Zulu. Hey, love you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. I don't know, Zulu, if it's our people love oppression, or if it's more that our people just don't see nothing else. Because I'll be honest with you, I've thought often this week about saying fuck it. Like, seriously. seriously, like, I'm at the point where it's hard for me to be on social media. I heard Facebook is impossible to be on. Now, y'all know I got my own issues with Facebook, which is why I have a Facebook page and all that shit, but I don't even fuck around on Facebook. I heard that for people who are on Facebook right now, Facebook is completely intolerable. It's a wash. Them niggas is washed. Like, I mean, Facebook is absolutely intolerable right now. But if it makes you feel any better, Twitter ain't much better. Now, I actually curate my feed for the most part. That doesn't mean that I have only voices that support the same thing I support around me. No. But yeah, I try to make sure that the motherfuckers that fuck with me know what's going on. That I support my tribe first and foremost. That I'm unapologetic about that. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. Right? So my feed on Twitter is relatively sane. I can't imagine what the fuck it's like on Facebook. I'm sorry. I can't imagine the level of celebration. It's like, I'm hearing reports it's like Jubilee. Just Me, what's up? Welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Too Opinionated. Just Me said, when I turn on TV, it was white people out in the street celebrating. This year has been hell. Why is it so bad that people are happy Trump is now? Hey, if you white folks, I imagine it ain't too bad. I'm not going to sit here and say white folks shouldn't be out there celebrating. See, one thing that I know as a black man in the United States of America is that no matter what, the appearance of opposition is just that. It's appearance. White people are going to prosper no matter who is getting in the office. To various extents, of course. But for the most part, white supremacy is not in danger with the elevation of Joseph R. Biden to president of the United States. If I was white, I'd probably be celebrating too. Shit, as a matter of fact, if I was white, I would be celebrating right now. Think about this. Now we're going to have a president that'll only periodically make racist gaffes. You know, a president that sometimes, due to his waning mental status, will say some off-brand shit. But at least I know how to sweep that under the rug, right? I know how to cover that up. Not to mention the fact that I have the whole of the pale stream media on the lookout for anything that might threaten the favorability of old Uncle Joe. If I was a white citizen, I'd be happy as fuck. No more of this open racist bullshit and having black people riled up and out in the streets like Trump did. No, we can go back to the quiet, happy times with black people's death and degradation as the background music. Yeah, if I was white, I'd be happy than a motherfucker right now. I'd have a pot. Bang, 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 bang. For white folks, the idea that nothing will fundamentally change is a motherfucking fantastic thing. Biden is essentially promising you, as best he thinks he's going to be able, a return to normal. If you're a white citizen in America, that don't sound too bad. Because normal for y'all is all right. But since you asked, since you mentioned that what's wrong with people being happy that Trump is out of office, let me share a little bit with you of what normal looks like for your fellow black citizens, huh? Normal looks like waking up in the morning, going to the refrigerator, eating last night's leftovers for breakfast. Cause money tight than a motherfucker even if you got a job. Cause if you one of your fellow black citizens, you the last one hired and the first one fired. You jump up and head out the door, but you make sure before you drive out of the driveway or turn out of the parking lot of your apartment complex, because most of us don't own no homes. We lost a lot of homes during the downturn, the recession in 2008, and we were the last ethnic demo in this country to show any signs of recovery, even after 8 years of Barack Obama's administration. You know. So after you turn out of the parking lot of your apartment complex, you make sure that you got your license, your insurance, and your proof of registration right there in that little pocket on your dashboard. In case on the way to work, you have an interaction with Officer Friendly. Because if you look like you're reaching for something, you might end up being the latest winner, the latest contestant on The Bullet Is Right. The officer is innocent. Then you drive your ass to work in a job that ain't paying you shit. And there you gotta act like you're not even you. You can't speak the way you normally speak. You can't dress the way you would dress around your peoples. You can't feel comfortable at all. God forbid you might wear a hairstyle that's common to your people, because every white bitch in that office wants to touch it. All these little microaggressions and all this little fuckery on a constant daily fucking basis. And you put up with 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of that bullshit. Thank you, Brother Morpheus. I'm going to let your comment read out, fam. You know I am. Then you jump back in your vehicle on your way home, and you know you better head straight toward home, because if you in the area where you work for too long, the police is going to crack down on you for being down there, because niggas ain't supposed to be in areas like that beyond a certain day and time.
The LibSWS are celebrating because it allows them to automatically feel they have an racist disguise because they don't like Trump, while also knowing Joe will maintain WS. MSM is a hell of a drug.
Facts, facts, facts. On your way home, you sitting there praying again that you don't have an interaction with Officer Friendly, right? Because you rolling the dice again, right? You spinning the roulette wheel every time you walk outside of a door. For the most part, you spinning the wheel. You hoping that motherfucker doesn't come up on Officer Friendly. You make it back home, but you check the mailbox, and on the way into the house, you counting all these motherfucking bills that you barely got money to pay. Then you go in the house, hopefully one of your kids brown the meat so you can cook something for dinner. You watch a goddamn TV show like Empire or Power or something else where you can actually see some black people for a fucking change. Then you go and pass your ass out in the bed to wake up to do it again the next day. Every day filled with uncertainty, with fear. You don't know when your son leaves the house, is he coming home because he fit the description? You don't know if your daughter's coming home because some pissed off white supremacist with a hard on for hurting black people look at her and they love soft targets. That's a day in the life. You white motherfuckers, if you had to live a day in the life of a black person in this country, you'd kill your fucking self. That's real talk. The idea, the thought that you may have to take and turn 10 cents into $1 by hook or by crook, not just for yourself, but for your entire fucking family, all of y'all broke, with every goddamn obstacle that a government can imagine put in your way, but you're told, hey, it's not about race. Funny, all the obstacles seem to be in black people's way, but all the motherfucking entryways is in everybody else's way. All the outlets is on one side of the motherfucking house while we left holding all the plugs. But yeah, it can't be about race. We should just celebrate that Trump is out of here. You know what, just me? I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. The choice between lesser evils, right? You know how we're never actually presented with a choice of choosing a politician that we could actually vote for, right? So we're given the lesser of two evils. For black Americans, the lesser of two evils was Donald motherfucking Trump. Donald John Trump. Yeah, I fucking said it. Donald John Trump was the lesser of two evils. So what that he wanted to propagandize Americans?
Go to the range, shoot, and buy seeds. Maintain situational awareness. The psychological warfare will only get worse.
Speak on it, back to the basics. Thank you for the love, fam. By the way, shout out to the newest member of the Angry Black Sheep, newest supporting member, Jesus Price. I appreciate you, fam. Donald John Trump was the lesser of two evils. So he wanted to propagandize for a proper, American education. Oh, the horror. In other words, Donald Trump wanted to make sure that we all continue to get the same basic American education we all get anyway. Oh, we should just be shaking in our boots. Donald Trump wants to make sure that in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and Washington could tell a lie at the cherry tree. That's the same bullshit we already learned in school any motherfucking way. Black people, all of us know that we ain't learned shit about our history until we got out of school. When we started listening to people like our esteemed ancestors, John Henrik Clark. When we started reading stuff like Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of Black Civilization. When we started picking up books like our esteemed ascended ancestress and Queen Mother Frances Cress Welsing, the ISIS Papers. Many of us didn't get no education on our motherfucking history. So what did Trump say that he wanted to do that was any different than what we get any motherfucking way? Did you really think that America itself gives a fuck about the 1619 Project? The only people that care about that shit is liberals who like to pretend that they support black people. You know why I say that they're the only motherfuckers that care? I'll explain why. Because liberals in this country understand two things. Just two. Because they really don't understand shit else.
I agree. DJT was the lesser of two evils. That's why I'm actually okay with BM voting for him, but only as a protest vote, not because their eyes are buck.
Absolutely. As long as brothers wasn't out there buck dancing and cooning, I don't give a fuck that brothers voted for Trump. If we were marching into this, eyes wide open, clear hearts, no fear, with the two choices that were presented to us, either Trader Trump or Jim Crow Joe. Trader Trump was easily, far and away, the lesser of two evils for black folk. Easily the lesser of two evils. And we can clearly establish that. Donald Trump had 3 years and change of an administration. And in that 3 years and change of an administration, Donald Trump has met with black people numerous times. Now, have they been black conservatives? Most of the time, people in there sycophanting it up, buck dancing and so on and so forth. Yeah. But Donald Trump actually listened to them. I saw shit during a Donald Trump administration I never saw a day in my fucking life. Even if some of it was based off of coonery and buffoonery, I still seen shit during this administration. Because look, tell the truth and shame these motherfucking devils. Where else but under a Trump administration could you see an arch white supremacist racist bastard like Steve King, a bastard so racist that he got censored by Congress for being a racist, actually come out and sponsor legislation on behalf of 2 black women, aka Rayon and Cubic Zirconia? Fam, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I never thought I'd see no shit like that. That's like the equivalent of Strom Thurmond sponsoring legislation because Elijah Muhammad told him to do it. We haven't seen no shit like that under any administration in this country. Trump may have had no fucking filter. Trump said the quiet thing out loud. That's why white America's pissed the fuck off. White America mad because Trump kept it all out in the open. He was you. He is you. So is Jim Crow Joe Biden. You know, I remember watching those old westerns. You know, the old westerns where the cowboys be out there fighting the Indians and shit, the Native Americans and all. And they'd always have some Native American chief who would say, "The white men speak with a forked tongue." It ain't just y'all's tongues that are fucking forked. Your psyches are forked. On one half, you got the straight up open, brutal, clear, unequivocal, I'm going to do whatever it takes to maintain the supremacy of me and my race over everybody else. You got your KKK, your neo-Nazis, you know, so on and so forth, right? You're alt-right. But then you got the other tongue of the snake. You got the one that sits there and pretends that, hey, we support you black folk. Black lives matter. While you support legislation, while you support the creation of institutions and programs that continue to stab us in the fucking back. You'll join us for protests not because you give a fuck about what's happening to us, but because it's fashionable. It's the thing to do. Yeah, there's that other half of y'all too. You know how we know that y'all the same part, you're the same as those motherfucking so-called alt-right, right-wingers? Because the moment that we say, hey, I'm glad to see you out here, white man, white woman, you know, historically, since 1619, right? So like 100 and some odd years before the advent of the Republic, and all 247 years of the Republic, there's been a debt owed to the people, to black people, right? The descendants of the enslaved here in the United States. So I know we can count on you for your support as we press the government to go ahead and pay this long-standing debt so that we can have our liberation, our freedom, our autonomy. We can finally acknowledge the great sin and crime that was committed against us and our people, the ongoing crime of mass incarceration, of police brutality, of gentrification. You support that, right? And watch you white motherfuckers evaporate like the morning dew. We already know what it is. You can already see it on social media. Just me, if you black, you need to get your fucking head right. Just saying, fam. Teaching time is basically over. Now it's test time. And it don't seem like your head is where it needs to be. I ain't shading you. You welcome. You family. If you black, you family. You right here. If you a member of our tribe, I love you. But at this fucking point, I got short shrift for anybody who can't see the basics, who can't see the obvious. Teaching time is over, fam. Now it's time for the motherfucking test. And I can guarantee you in the next 4 years, There's going to be a lot of motherfuckers that feel. And that's just real. That's just real. I got family right now complaining that they family members done went and bought cakes to celebrate the elevation of Joseph R. Biden to the presidency. Black people buying cake to celebrate, dancing in the streets as if you don't have nobody around you who's doing football numbers thanks to Jim Crow Joe. Like, you don't have nobody around you that still struggles with drug addiction but was treated like a criminal. Like, you ain't got nobody around you that hasn't been affected by 47 years of Joe Biden's fuckery, his crimes against black humanity. Hunter out here fucking whores and smoking crack like the shit's running out of style. Ain't done a day. Ain't seen the inside of a jail. Matter of fact, he gets to sit on boards for Burisma and make millions of fucking dollars and gets to chase money in China and shit. But we can't talk about that because that might in some way show that Biden is just as fucking corrupt as everybody was saying Donald Trump was. So we can't talk about any of that shit. We can't talk about the motherfucking laptop and the emails. Yeah, we can't talk about none of that. Or they cut your shit off. Morpheus is on it tonight, goddammit. I'm glad to see my brothers back at fine fucking federal. Locked us up. Hell, up here in Oregon, they basically...
Preach. Exactly. Reparations is the litmus test that exposes WS liberals. They agree with all the systemic racism talking points, but when it's time to discuss redress, whoa now buddy, what about Puck?
Right? What about Native Americans? What about with the little kids at the border? How about we keep the main thing the main thing? I'm talking about reparations for the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, motherfucker. You got a problem with all that other shit? Make a claim for that. But don't dismiss our claim or subsume our claim in everybody else's shit. You know, a lift every voice plan. We don't fucking need that. We need specific redress because specific shit happened to us. Specific shit is still happening to us. You can't talk about Jim Crow Joe's long and storied history of connections to segregationists and rabid white supremacists. You can't talk about the fact that this motherfucker, every time he's had control, he's had his hands on anything that could affect black life, has worked overtime to destroy it. No. Because Orange Man bad, we had to sit here and pretend along with the motherfucking white liberals that Jim Crow Joe was somehow better. Fam, I was no fan of really any Democratic candidate during the primaries. I looked at Marianne Williamson, but she kept lowballing the fuck out of us. I looked at Tom Steyer, but he came in too late, didn't have a hope and chance of hell of winning nothing. I initially was a little high on Tulsi, but they smashed her so fast it didn't even make your head spin because Tulsi told too much truth and shit. Plus, Tulsi wasn't supporting reparations. That's my litmus test. You ain't supporting reparations for me and my people? We ain't got nothing to talk about. But literally anybody else other than Joe Biden would have smashed Donald Trump. You sit here and talk to us about we mad about Jim Crow Joe Biden and this, that, and the third. Man, look, literally anyone else in the Democratic Party might have been somebody you could actually vote for if you really wanted Trump out. If it was really about getting Donald Trump out of office, you could have literally picked any one of them other than Kamala Harris and other than Joe Biden, and you would have had no fucking issues. You would have actually had people excited to come out and vote. You think Joe Biden won this shit? Last time I checked, the numbers do not indicate landslide. Do not indicate mandate. Joe Biden does not have a mandate. You know how weak of a candidate you gotta be to go up against Donald Trump and not take this shit home and win it in a fucking landslide? Do you know how weak of a candidate you have to be? Donald Trump was unpopular because of COVID. Donald Trump was unpopular because he wouldn't get stimulus out to the people. He kept flashing on motherfuckers and soft playing and downplaying COVID and this and the third. Some of the promises on the economy he didn't keep. He was a weak fucking president. He was able to be knocked down. Democrats right now should not be fucking rejoicing the fact that it took this much goddamn effort to beat such a weak incumbent. This is not nothing to brag about. Biden barely pulled off the win by the skin of his fucking teeth. And then Pelosi got the nerve to get up on national TV and sit here and say that he's got a mandate? Please. You want to divide the nation to the point of breaking it? Let Biden get in there and think that he can do any more than to get some sort of COVID relief to people, deal with the coronavirus. And that's really about it. Cut the checks. Let Joe Biden actually have the nerve to think that he's got a mandate to do any more than what Donald Trump didn't do. And you're going to tear this motherfucker apart. And I guarantee you, it's not just going to be the Trumpists you're going to have to worry about. The best that black folk can hope for under a Biden administration is that the Republicans continue to keep the Senate, the Democrats keep the House, and Kamala is in the White House, so that not much of anything gets done. That's the best we can hope for, because we know what Biden and Kamala Harris is capable of doing if they got the House, the Senate, and the White House. We already know what they're capable of. Biden talking about closing privatized prisons, never even minding the fact that the vast majority of our brothers and sisters is locked up in public prisons. And Biden ain't talking about closing none of them motherfuckers. I don't hear Biden talking about that he's closing down prisons to put more people back into the community. No. Biden said he's going to give more money to the motherfucking cops. Biden wants gun control in a time when we're sitting here facing the onslaught, the double onslaught of paramilitary occupying forces, also known as law enforcement in our communities, and vigilante white citizens who are disenfranchised and out of work with COVID and ain't got shit else to do.
I lay this at the feet of Clyburn and older voters. Clyburn accepted private prison money and is now accepting pharmaceutical money. He's an evil himself.
You goddamn right. Catfish Clyburn saved Jim Crow Joe Biden, and when asked on national TV how could Biden's administration pay him back, he ain't asked for nothing. Why? Because Clyburn's straight. His district ain't, but fuck them niggas. His district looks like a third world hellhole. But no, Clyburn's cool. He don't need nothing from Joe Biden. He just needs the satisfaction of seeing civility return to the White House. All you celebrating ass Negroes and liberals out there, you know, y'all just glad to see a return to a quieter, a quieter, nicer racism. You know, we don't need all this racism out in the open where we might have a chance to actually unite the whole of the country against it and finally see justice for the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States. No. We don't need that. No, let's go back to that quiet shit. You know, that low-key racism.
I saw CNN saying it's hard to beat an incumbent. Normally yes, but no incumbent had won re-election during a recession. We are technically in a depression, just not a Great Depression. Plus the incumbent was an orange fool.
Man, y'all better listen to Morpheus. Fam, we not in a recession. COVID caused the motherfucking depression. On the level of the Great Depression, they just simply ain't talking about it. And guess what? Without continued ongoing stimulus at this point, fam, this will tumble into a depression, a Great Depression. There will be, even if they start handing out checks every month, starting tomorrow, it will still be years before this economy recovers from the onslaught of the Rona. And you got Joe Biden in the office who had no problem during his 47 years in office saying that he wanted to cut Medicare, Social Security, and any other government entitled program. He's not for providing you with any health care when almost everybody's health care is tied to some goddamn job and there ain't no jobs. Mitch McConnell is going to lowball any stimulus bullshit. And even if they do take over the House, and they do pass some stimulus, the vast majority of that stimulus money is going to go again to the rich. You think Jim Crow Joe Biden wants to put money in your pocket, you fucking fools? Jim Crow Joe Biden is not a Democrat. He's a goddamn Republican. You sat here and thought you were voting out the Republicans. You voted one out and voted another one in. Under Trump, this country actually had a chance to unite across a whole bunch of different ethnic demos. Because Trump turned the whole damn country into niggas. It wasn't just black people that was going through the crucible under Trump. Trump was definitely the lesser of two evils for black people. Because with Trump back in office, we would all be out in the streets. And even though some of us would be out there because it's fashionable, some of us would be out there because it was fun, eventually, some of us would start talking. And some of us would start organizing. And instead of having those rednecks out there trumping it up, we'd be able to explain to them that, hey, Trump ain't the savior either. We the only motherfuckers that can save ourselves. Let's put this bullshit aside, get some work done, help everybody out, and we can all work together to make this country great. I'm not mad because MAGA people wanted to make America great again. I was mad because America was never made great for me and mine. This is my homeland. My ancestors' bones is buried here. How you gonna make America great without making me great? It wasn't the message. It was the messenger. But now, under Joe Biden, we on our own again. Not like we ever really had anybody on our team, black folk, but we are definitely on our own. Clearly on our own. Shit, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of our own people that's gonna get mad if we say anything about Joe Biden's policies. Pat, I support a public bank. I read Mr. Darren's work, a post office bank or a public bank of some sort. I support that, among other things. Do I count that as reparations? No. But it could be part of a comprehensive reparations scheme. I don't see why not. Yeah, there's more lockdowns coming. And fam, there's another thing that's coming too that I don't think black people realize. Joe Biden is just as much an authoritarian as they claim Donald Trump is. You all were worried about the possibility of being forced to take a coronavirus vaccine under Donald Trump. Let me share something with you that you may not know. Remember I told you that the Democrats are controlled opposition? Let me prove it to you with just this one simple statement. Republicans are really good at coming up with fucked up ass ideas to hurt the people. Right? Past masters at it. You go anywhere on the right wing and you can find a whole bunch of fucked up ass ideas that definitely are not good for people. All right? But now, when you want those ideas enacted, you elect the Democrat to do it. Don't believe me? Ronald Reagan talked about government being the enemy and this, that, and the third. But it took William Jefferson Clinton to do what even Reagan couldn't do. Reagan busted some unions and ran up the national debt trying to break the Soviet Union and this, that, and the third. All fine and dandy. But Reagan wouldn't touch Medicaid or Medicare with a 10-foot fucking pole. Reagan wouldn't touch welfare. Even though he would rail against welfare queens and this, that, and the third, he made some cuts. But there was no way he was going to take AFDC and turn it into temporary assistance for needy families. No, that happened under William Jefferson Clinton. A Democrat. Reagan and Bush talk all the time about let the free market be the free market. But they didn't touch Glass-Steagall. You know, that rule that separated commercial banking from investment banking, allowing the investment banks to only gamble with rich folk money while your money's relatively safe in the bank. No, that was Bill Clinton who broke up Glass-Steagall. Reagan talked about the shining city on the hill. Clinton took that shining city and outsourced it to Bangladesh, to Singapore, to China, to Thailand, to Mexico, the maquiladoras. Fam, Republicans are great at coming up with ideas that fuck you. Democrats are excellent at the execution of those ideas that fuck you. Because remember, William Jefferson Clinton was not your grandfather's Democrat. He wasn't a Democrat that was for unions, for social justice, in any, even a fake ass way. Nah, Bill Clinton was the first motherfucking Democratic Republican president in history. But he was not the last. Barack Obama was a moderate Republican and said as much. Why do you think he chose Joe Biden? Exactly, Taj. The ACA was Romney Care. Romney Care was modeled after a plan from the Heritage Foundation.
Light the fire and let it burn. We all we got.
Thank you, Tabitha, and you damn right. We all we got. We have 47 years of pure legislative fuckery that we can hang on Joe Biden. We don't even have to talk about Kamala Harris. We canceled her ass right there in the motherfucking primaries. And now that bitch is gonna be a heartbeat away from the presidency we never wanted her to have in the first place. We never wanted her. We never wanted her at all. At all. By the time she dropped out of the race, she wasn't even getting 1% of the vote in any primary anywhere. And now she's a heartbeat away. A heartbeat away with a 77-year-old mentally deficient, decrepit ass president. Ain't that a bitch? I don't want to hear shit she got to say, Monty. By the way, welcome to the broadcast, fam. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden individually have hurt black people far more than Donald Trump ever did. Donald Trump discriminated against some black folk who lived in his properties and shit. He said ill shit about the Central Park Five, demanding the death penalty, this, that, and the third. He was a crap sack. Donald Trump is an American white man. Is he racist? You're goddamn right he is. But when he had the reins of power, when he had control over every black life in America, he wasn't egregiously just fucking black people up. At best, we can claim from Donald Trump neglect. He simply just either wasn't aware of our issues or didn't really much care to address them. All things being equal, that's pretty much normal. That's par for the course for black people in the United States of America. If you get a president that doesn't seek you and your people out to fuck you over, but just simply looks the other way, that's usually about as good as it gets for black people under any presidential administration. Fam, before I open up the lines, I want to talk about 3 things that we need to focus on moving forward. Just 3. Number 1, we need to become the most safety-focused black people. No, we need to become the most safety-focused people in this country. I have not been able to confirm this, so I'm just merely mentioning it, and I'm telling you right now, I have not confirmed it, but I've already heard rumors of killings in Austin, Texas, that were a direct result of people's dissatisfaction with the outcome of this election. Mainstream media and the whole 9 yards have made it a point to highlight that it was black people that put Joe Biden in the office. It was black people, specifically the black woman. Fam, we not only are not going to get anything from this administration for our vote, we didn't have enough wherewithal, enough gumption, enough unification to come together and actually demand something from these motherfuckers before we voted for them. But now the mainstream media just put a big ass target on our backs. So all of you who might live in an area where there's white folks nearby, your brother would recommend that you keep your head on a motherfucking swivel for the next few. I would recommend you keep your head on a swivel. I would recommend you pack the steel. Whether you a felon or not felon, don't care. Fuck they laws. Be ready to defend you and your people's person. For real. For real, for real. This is not a joke. This is not me being paranoid. This isn't me on some old conspiracy theory shit. Fam, I'm telling you for a fact. They are going to be out here killing folk. Specifically, black folk. White supremacy truly does take both sides of every argument, and no matter who wins in any argument with white supremacy, black people lose. Pack your steel. Move expeditiously from point A to point B. Do not make yourself a soft target. Exactly, Tab Liquor. I live up here in White DeVille in Washington State. I'm surrounded by white folks. Trust me when I tell you, I ain't no easy win. Up here, this is a stand your ground state. If I think a white motherfucker's looking at me wrong, I'm going to jail. So if y'all don't see no broadcast for a minute, you'll know why. Because I done put one in me a motherfucker. If I think that my life is in danger, if I think that my life is under imminent threat, I'm not asking no questions. We're not having no discussions. I'm going home and somebody's going in a box. And you better have damn well developed that same mentality. Because shit's about to get bad out here. That's not paranoia. That's not conspiracy theory drivel. That's cause and effect. We danced and sung our way into becoming targets for these ardent white supremacists who think that Trump got robbed. They ain't gonna be necessarily killing a whole bunch of white folks. That might happen some, but I can guarantee you any chance they get to put one of us in the ground, they're gonna do it. Oh yeah, black man, these are the liberal white folks up here. Shit. Any black person up here in Washington will tell you in a minute. Western Washington is liberal, supposedly. Basically, Olympia, Tacoma, and Seattle. On the other side of the mountains and outside those three metropolitan areas, it's as red as the motherfucking Red Sea up here. It ain't no different up here than it is for y'all and y'all's white folks other places. There's just fewer of us up here. Black folk up here make about 3% of the population. Study the history of the area, you'll know why. Number 2, and this is going to become of key importance, and I want to give a special shout out to my sister Strongflower for constantly banging the drum on this. We need to be discussing how to develop our own communities. And we need to be discussing this amongst ourselves. None of that bullshit where 19 black families get together and then try to get a goddamn some sort of, reality show going to go out on the land and build a black city. Nah, fuck that. We need to actually be talking about how to develop our own communities. And when I say develop our own communities, fam, I'm not talking about fighting against gentrification. That war is won. Our neighborhoods were never our neighborhoods in the best of times. They're definitely not our neighborhoods now. We don't own them. We do not own our neighborhoods. We simply reside in them. Well, if I could reside in motherfucking the heart of Detroit, I could reside somewhere else. I'm going to put forward a plan in the new year to help black people develop their own communities. I've studied this shit for years. Intentional communities, alternative communities. White folks got some good ideas and we need to learn how to start stealing them. We need to get the fuck out of the shells of these cities. They wanted them. They stole them fair and square. Let them have them. We can't call it. Continue to try to fight gentrification is a losing battle. We cannot call it. But we can go where they are not. And we need to be doing that. More details on that to come. And the third thing, and one of the most important things, is we need to keep boot to ass on every one of these motherfuckers out here. White, black, Asian, Latino, it don't matter. We need to press the pedal to the metal when it comes to our justice claim. Why do I say that? my ADOS brothers and sisters know why I'm saying that. We've studied the data. We've seen that the median net worth of black people by 2053, with no changes, is slated to become zero. And when that happens in the richest country on the planet Earth, that is essentially economic death. That is the end of our lineage, of our tribe as we understand it. But now, with the advent of the Rona and so on and so forth, 2053 is looking more like 2023. As we slide into what truthfully will be the next Great Depression, black folk are going to get hammered like we have never seen in our lifetimes. Our grandparents saw black life like we're about to see it, where black folks struggled just to get the daily basics, where if you didn't have something growing out of the ground and a spot to grow it out of, you were pretty much fucked. We're about to get back to that. But why do you have to take that sitting down, rolling over? At what point will you be willing to get up and put it all on the line? At what point will you say, you know what? This ain't living. And before I see myself and my babies and my peoples live like this, I'm coming for you. Family, you're going to have to make the commitment. There's no more room for fist sitters. There's no more room to sit here and try to educate a bunch of Negroes and so on and so forth. Don't get me wrong. You find somebody you think is worth the effort invested. There's a lot of black folk that are going to need a lifeline. But family, start using your discernment. Start using your discernment. If people consistently work against your interests, my interests as a people, Negroes that you run across, and consistently they supporting fuck shit because they might be Christian, or they might be LGBT, or they might be this, or they might be that, you're going to have to cut these niggas off. You're going to have to let celebrity go. Fuck the celebrities. What is a celebrity doing for you? What is, bigging up Beyonce putting on your table or putting towards your light bill? You're going to have to say fuck celebrity. Matter of fact, I would argue that niggas need to stop dancing and entertaining themselves so motherfucking much at this point. What do we have to dance for? We ain't out here calling for revolution against this motherfucker. Now, I want to tend to revolution I can't dance at. But we not calling for transformational change in this motherfucker. Not as a collective. What y'all here celebrating for? Fam, self-care, discernment is key. Like Sister Taj said, you got family members who come in and hitting you up for money, knowing that you struggling, but they voted for Jim Crow Joe Biden, more neoliberal policies, more farming out resources to other nations, more bullshit, more fuckery. At some point, you gotta tell these niggas, you gotta let them eat cake. School's out. The data been there. We been knowing that we hold 2% of the nation's wealth. That we've been owed a debt since emancipation. That the United States government got to break bread, and they got to do it comprehensively, fully, and definitively. We've been knowing this. And now we even understand who reparations is for. It's for specifically the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States of America. ADOS. DAS. Right? Descendants of American slavery. It's for us. Not from some blanket ass blackness every motherfucking where on the planet that gets to come over here with their hand out, but ain't put in on nothing, ain't paid no blood price. From now on, fam, if people ain't on board with that, you gonna have to let them go. I'm tired of hearing that this is a marathon, not a sprint. No, it ain't. Because if you're running a marathon at this point, you ain't gonna make it to the finish line. I'm sorry to be the one to tell. No, actually, I'm not fucking sorry. All these people out here trying to tell us that this justice claim that we pushing for is a marathon, not a sprint. Y'all are full of shit. Even in a marathon, at some point, you realize that the race is going to be over and somebody's going to overtake you and you start speeding it up. You start giving it all you got. There's parts of a marathon where you got to sprint. Y'all mistake the fact that the race has taken a long time for the fact that we've got to run a long race. No, the race is the same. The finish line is the same. Simply because we've been running it slow doesn't mean that they've moved the finish line. The finish line is our economic death and permanent degradation, our permanent status as an outcast, the undercast, the bottom cast. That's the finish line. The finish line has been the same. And it's nobody's fault that we've been running like the turtle. This isn't a fucking marathon. The finish line is right there. Even if we were assuming that 2053 was the year that our economic backs are going to be fucking broken, that's right around the corner. Fam, to put that into perspective, I'm 47 years old. Barring any unforeseen circumstances when it comes to my health, I could live another 33 years? So I'd be 80 when 2053 comes. I'd be an old ass man with more gray than a motherfucker. That's right around the corner, fam. 2053 is in my lifetime. That shit could happen. There are many of you in this chat right now that will still be alive in 2053. And remember, that 2053 number was based off of the assumption that nothing major would change about our economic position. If you actually read the report, right? I'm talking to you people who are about the data today. If you actually read the report, it said that this date, this time frame assumes no major changes in the economic status of both black people as well as Latinos. Latinos are slated to be at zero wealth by 2073 and black folks by 2053, assuming no major changes in our economic status in the United States. Well, guess what? COVID-19, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2 was a major upheaval, not just in the United States, but in the whole goddamn world. And you sitting here still telling folk that we got a marathon to run? Are you mad? We at the bottom of a motherfucking economic volcano. It just started erupting and ash and shit is falling down the hill. But you saying, skip to my loo, skip to my loo. At some point, we gotta start fucking running. This ain't a goddamn marathon anymore. It never really was. Our ancestor, Frederick Douglass, said, find out what injustices a people will quietly submit to. Quietly submit to. And you will know the limits of the injustices that will be visited upon them. And those injustices will continue until they are countered with either words or blows or both. Find out what niggas will quietly submit to. Find out what they'll go ahead and accept, banging on pots and drums and pressing the motherfucking horns. cracking open the bottles. And you'll know the limits of the injustices that will be visited upon them. And those injustices will continue until they are countered with either words or blows or both. This is a marathon because you want to run a marathon. Nothing more. Three 602-2667. I want to hear from you. Yeah, black man, it's coming sooner. It's coming sooner. Thank you, brother Morpheus. Like I said, man, y'all inspire me. I'm done being pissed off about Jim Crow Joe Biden. I'm ready to get the fight in. I'm ready to give that motherfucker all this work. Sister Taj, woman after my own heart, she talked about there's a lot of literature on how to live off the grid. Fam, do yourself a favor on this fine Saturday night. Go on to Google and search for appropriate technology. I'll define it for you so you know what you're looking at when you see it. Appropriate technology assumes that you have a basic level of technology and teaches you how to power shit, how to grow shit, how to build shit, how to maintain shit without having access to machinery and technology and so on and so forth. Did you know, fam, that you can build a house out of the dirt that the land sit on? That's right. All you might need is a few bags of cement and some motherfucking metal rods with plates on the end. And some pieces of wood. It's called rammed earth. You can build 2-foot thick walls, put inside trees and wood and pieces of wood and hay and straw inside those walls, and you'll have insulated walls so that even in the coldest environments in here, you can run a little bitty fire in the middle of your house and keep your whole damn house warm. You could actually build you a house with the cost of the dirt that's on it. I'm not kidding you, fam. I'm not making shit up. Fam, do you know that you can build a house out of sticks, mud, and straw? There's an old ancient technology that's used to build homes called wattle and daub. What is it? You take sticks, poke them in the ground, you weave other sticks in between those sticks, then you take and get clay dirt, clay mud, mix it with water, sand, and straw, and then you put that shit on that frame of sticks that you just built. Put a roof on that bitch and call it. How bad y'all want it? How bad do you want to be safe? How bad do you want to be a part of a community where you can protect you and yours? Because we can make that happen. This don't have to be a marathon. It's a marathon because you want to run it like a marathon. I say we sprint towards this shit. At some point, we're going to have to. 360-602-2667. Let me refresh this shit because it looks like this motherfucker's not letting us get the calls in again. Give me just a second. All right, 360-602-2667. Somebody called me from 413. I'm going to call them back. Let's see what we got. Peace, Jaguar. I see you, fam. Long time no see. Missed you, fam. Yeah, we sitting here talking about we hate living in the motherfucking ghetto. Well, stop living in the ghetto. A lot of the complaining that black folks is doing right now fucks me up. Reminds me of a story. This man goes to the doctor. He says, "Doc, I got a problem." Doctor says, "What is it?" The man goes, "Man, it really hurts when I go like this." The doctor looked at him and said, Well, stop doing that. Seriously, fam. There's a lot of shit that we can address on our own. We are on our own. It kept ringing, fam. And I'm not even getting the goddamn calls. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. I'm gonna try Skype then. I'm loath to try Skype because we've been having problems with that shit. But let me see if I can get Skype cracking. All right. Okay, fam. I'm gonna pop up the old number here on the chat. On the window here. Give me just a second, okay? Because I'm not certain why Google Voice is giving me fits. But the old number, for those of y'all to remember, is 425-296-1980. My broadcast software crashed. It should be going back again here shortly, and I want to make sure everybody catch what you're saying. There we go, fam. Sorry about that. Software crashed. All right, go ahead, Cease. Talk to us. Brothers and family, is Brother CC on the line. Double Cease is in the house. Talk to us, Cease. What's good, man?
Man, one, you're on fire. Two, you're talking about how Washington is a liberal, but it's red at all the places.
Mm-hmm.
Massachusetts the same way.
Yep.
Springfield, Holyoke. This is Western Massachusetts now.
Mm-hmm.
They're liberal to a point. Westfield is overt conservative. Another place, anything beyond that is either covert or overt conservative.
Absolutely.
We have a Republican governor for the past God knows how long, Charlie Baker. Now I do agree with you on one thing, but one of these main topics is Donald Trump is the lesser evil of Joe Biden.
Yep.
For black folks.
Absolutely. For us. I'm not speaking for the rest of America. I couldn't give less than a shit about the rest of America. If black folks were in this steely-eyed, cold-hearted, just looking at the facts, Donald Trump was far and away the lesser of two evils for us.
Well, he said all the quiet parts out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he talked about the military industrial complex, which they were pissed about. I mean, technically, if you want to think about it, Donald Trump was like a black person, the ignorant one. Say it was on his mind, didn't care. Same thing he said about us. Joe Biden is the inner one that we need to get rid of.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got to bring it to him. The thing is that from day one, from moment one of a Biden administration, black people, not liberals, not progressives, not nobody else, black people need to be at the forefront of keeping boot to ass of the Biden administration. We need to be the loudest. We need to be the most unapologetic. We need to be the most rude. We need to be the most disrespectful. We can't afford at this point any goddamn respectability when it comes to Jim Crow Joe Biden. We can't let them get entrenched like ticks. We got to be in their ass from inauguration day forward.
I believe the reason why they want him there is the reason why they wanted Obama there. Like, Trump kind of, like me and my wife, we talk about this. The best thing Trump ever did was wake everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
I know who's coming. I like to see my enemy coming. I don't like waiting through the fog.
Exactly. I like my enemies right there out in the open where I can see them. I love Trumpists. I do. I love MAGAs. I really do. I never had a problem with any MAGAs ever. Because them motherfuckers is loud, proud, out in your face. Them Proud Boys that everybody got all scared of and shit. The motherfuckers wear a uniform. Seriously, they wear a black shirt with the gold little Proud Boy symbol on it and khaki pants or shorts. You see a gang of white boys or white Mexicans or whatever walking up the street with that, you already know what it is. Grab your steel. Like, I like my enemies where the fuck I can see them. Instead of a bunch of enemies hiding behind boardrooms, wearing Brooks Brothers suits, making policies that they then hand to Joe Biden that he rubber stamps that fucks us stupid. Ain't y'all sick of that?
Yeah. Well, we've been getting to reach around for years. Reach around right into our pockets, pat us on the back. Yeah, y'all some good people. Yes, you guys are oppressed. Yes, you're dealing with all types of idiocy.
Yep.
But then when we say something tangible, well, no, we can't do that. Rise tide lift all boats.
Yep. Everybody's specific as fuck right now about who it was that helped Joe Biden to get into office. Everybody, the whole nation is saying it was black people. It was black people. Black people saved the republic. Black people saved the nation. It was black people. They know how to be specific as fuck when we're giving them what they want. When we're voting for them, when we give them what they asking for, oh, it's applause for black folk. They not even bothering to hide it. It was the black vote. It was the black vote. Black people specifically supported Joe Biden in greater numbers than any other ethnic demo in this country. Then the motherfuckers know how to be specific. But then when we say, great, man, we love the republic. This is our nation. Now it's time to finally put pay to the oldest debt this country owes and lift us up to where we belong. Then all of a sudden you hear, well, you know, minorities and diversity and BIPOC and people of color and you know and AAPI and you know, fuck out of here. Y'all can be specific as hell when you want to be. They got no problem, Cease, with specificity when it comes to patting the good Negro on the head. But when it comes time to putting resources in them Negroes' pockets, all of a sudden specificity disappears. Well, we don't know how we can do reparations. I mean, are we supposed to do it based off a DNA test? Or, you know, what if person's like 5%? You know, what if they have 5% slaveholder, you know, a slave master in their blood? Are they responsible too? Oh, I'm an immigrant. My family came here from Europe. We never even owned no slave. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, but I think when they're patting us on the back, they're just putting a target. You know, that kick me sign you used to put on somebody you couldn't stand, and everybody's kicking us in the rear. That's what I feel like.
Hell yeah! I mean, if our people are so willing to keep playing political mules, if we're so willing to keep being political suckers, then why are we surprised when we got a collective gang of kick me signs on our back? We literally gave Jim Crow Joe our vote for nothing. For nothing. None of the pundits, none of the academians, none of the intelligentsia, none of the gatekeepers, all of them, like fucking Judas goats, said, don't worry about it, Joe. We gonna carry you across the finish line. You don't owe us nothing. Just give us a hug. My kids can't eat no motherfucking hugs. I don't care if white people like us. Well, I don't need America's love. I need access to American resources. Them motherfuckers can sit in the comfort of their home and hate my black ass guts. I need to be able to defend my people against their hatred. I don't give a fuck if they love me.
True.
You got this nigga Touré out here talking about love has returned to the country and shit. Man, telling you, man, these butter biscuit chasing Negroes, man, I'm serious. I'm gonna have to actually stay off of social media for a minute, because the more I'm on it right now, and I can guarantee you, fam, those Boule, Black Greeks, the Divine Nine are gonna be in fucking insufferable for the next like 6 months. If you know any black Greeks, tell them motherfuckers to stay out of your face. You got niggas like Roland Martin talking about in the era of the coronavirus, at Jim Crow Joe Biden's inauguration is gonna be the largest step show black people have ever seen. Ain't that a bitch? You niggas is out here, when the white folks was out here protesting and shit for the coronavirus, y'all was calling them COVIDiots and all, and saying that they just handing out COVID like it's candy. But y'all already plotting to head to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration and step show your ass into a coronavirus infection when we're the most disproportionately affected ethnic demo in this country of the coronavirus. If nothing says I hate niggas like putting us in a position to watch more of us die on a humbug to please your pet white man. That a bitch.
That I do agree with. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. See, so I'm listening to you, fam. Cause this shit got me triggered, man. Seriously, like I'm on some ill shit right now.
One thing I don't understand is this. If we're 13 or 14% of population in America, why would our vote matter? So I don't think it was just us that voted in high numbers. You have other POCs that did the same thing.
No, Cease, it was us, fam, and I'll explain why. Because there's one group of Americans who have won every election in the last 100 or so years, and that is non-voters. Of the multiple millions of Americans that are eligible to vote, it's only a fraction of us that actually do vote. Now, by the way, fam, I know y'all calling in, but I can only take one call at a time, so please be patient until the brother's off the line here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll be off pretty soon then.
But Cease, this time, I think it was 60 some odd percent, like 64, 65% of eligible voters that actually voted in this election, right? So I'm talking about if you took 100% of all the people that can vote, about 64% of those people actually voted. Now, black people get hammered over the fucking head by everybody in this country that if nobody else fucking votes, niggas need to vote, right? We get told that we're basically a traitor to the race if we don't vote, right? So there's very few black people that actually get to forego the vote. We don't really have a choice in voting. We vote just because we told to vote, right? So it stands to reason that if you already have a pro-voting kind of propagandization of our people, and then on top of that, the vast majority of people don't tend to vote, it makes sense that our votes then are going to disproportionately affect any outcome for any particular election. You following me, bruh?
Gotcha, man.
All right. That's why they're able to say clearly that it was the black vote that helped Jim Crow Joe, because we are the ethnic demo that tends to vote more than anybody else. And when you don't have everybody voting, that means that smaller voting blocks or smaller voting groups have a disproportionately larger effect per vote. You feel me?
Okay.
All right,
fair enough.
Yep. See, so you got something else you want to holler at me about, man?
Nah, man, this whole thing, everybody's getting uproar about this whole thing, and as I told people, like, one thing America has mastered is the switcheroo.
Yep.
Just because you have the most votes don't mean you won. That was proven 4 years ago. That was proven almost every other election. You know, they want who they want in there. Like I said, Donald Trump, as you said earlier, said the quiet parts out loud.
Yep.
I mean, when he wasn't for DACA, when Obama did DACA, I wasn't for that. My thing's been here for literally 8 generations.
Yep. How
you just get here and I got to answer to you? That's like me working at a job for 20 years. Here comes some 20-year-old punk telling me he my boss. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah. I mean, the complete and absolute utter irony of us, black Americans, the most American of Americans, having to constantly fight the children of immigrants for our due. How sick is that? Kamala Harris is a child of immigrants. Joe Biden is a child of immigrants. Donald Trump is a child of immigrants. In what just world should we have to ask them motherfuckers for anything?
But you go to their countries, you can't do that. You ain't got no stake in their claim. Like I said, when I saw that article in Time magazine 2 years ago, they're Americans too. They're just illegal. I'm like, wait a minute, what right? That's like me going to someone's house and say, I got a right to your house, and I start cooking your food and stuff like that. And I say, well, I belong here. I just,
Yeah, I changed my last name to Johnson, so this is my house too. What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, anyone that has a place to stay is not going to ask a homeless person to live with them.
Oh, cease, but you know what though? I'm telling you, there's a lot of folk, a lot of black folk that are in for a rude awakening. See, I noticed something. A lot of the buffer class, the boule class, the butter biscuit chasers, the pundit class, a lot of them motherfuckers don't have no problem supporting the liberals as long as they skin ain't in the game. But Kamala Harris is already a senator, co-sponsored legislation to increase the number of H-1B visas. These are people that come from foreign lands and come over here to do tech jobs and other jobs like that at lower wages, thus displacing American tech workers and shit like that. There's a lot of this butter biscuit boule class that gonna graduate from college and find that Ravi and Rafiki and shit and already took their motherfucking jobs. There ain't gonna be no jobs for them, and then they gonna wish they had listened to broke niggas like us. You feel me? It was all good when Jose and Juan and Lupe were taking jobs from us. But when you got Pakistanis and Indians and Chinese taking jobs from their ass, now they're going to want to get on the team. I'm telling you, our justice claim, this ain't no marathon. Because once the real economic fallout of some of the policies that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris espouse really start hitting home to black people in the midst of an unannounced depression, they're going to be looking for answers. So we're going to have to stay on our square. We're going to have to fight Joe Biden like crazy. Because if we don't stay out here and stay visible, our people are going to be fucked. And that's a fact. So they may not have came around yet, but fam, they coming. They ain't going to have no choice.
Well, don't be surprised when you start hearing these words. We need a coalition.
Yep, I won't be.
And hopefully, I'm gonna say no, because we get to, like I said, we get to reach around. Then as soon as we do a coalition, well, and they're offered something intangible like the gift of WS. Oh well, screw them guys.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, everybody's gonna be in for a rude awakening. They just don't see it coming yet.
Yep. And I for one have no problem with motherfuckers getting wake up calls. The fact is that, like I said, teaching time is over. Class is finished. The session is done. Now it's test time. And we're going to see who was paying attention in class and who's about to fail. I promise you that.
Yep, but I'm going to get off this phone because I know somebody else wants to call, man, but thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem, Brother Cease, man. It's always a pleasure, fam. You take it easy, all right?
You too, sir.
I will, brother. Peace. Great call from Brother Cease. Yeah, Zulu's in IT. He understands. He knows what's cracking. He's having to compete with Indians and Pakistanis all day long for jobs. Agent Smith, what's good, fam? It's been a long time. Welcome to the broadcast. He said, I can't believe that black sheep don't see that taking credit for this victory puts a target on our backs for revenge. They gonna figure it out. Caller from 910, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
My name is John. I'm calling out of Fayetteville. Can you?
What up, John? Talk to me, fam. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, you know what it is, man. I gotta stay on my square. You know what I'm saying? I gotta tell it like a TIE is. What's on your mind, fam?
Yeah, man. Last time I called up to the show, I was super emotional. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was pissed. I think we all was pissed. Justifiably so. But you know what though? That song done and over with. For those of us that's on code and you know what it is, we know we just gotta embrace ourselves for all the bullshit that comes with the.
Brother, I can barely hear you. Are you on your Bluetooth or something? Are you driving?
man.
Okay, yeah, I just want to, because I know you're going to always say something dope, and I want to make sure we catch it.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you good now, fam. Go ahead and say what you were saying.
Yeah, I was like, last time I called into your show, I was super emotional. You know what I mean? You was pissed, and justifiably so. We know what's to come.
Yep.
Last time I called into your show, I didn't give a chance to list some of the things that maybe we could do. You know what I mean? And what I mentioned to you before was that I had listened to you, Tariq Nasheed, and a lot of other brothers.
Yep.
And I realized something, that for the people that listen to you guys, there's a level of intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need in the community, is for you guys to mentor the young brothers.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
That's how people stay on code. Like, a lot of people use these cliches like, all black people need to stick together. All black people need to stick together. Black people can't stick together because by design, we're taught to hate one another. Mm-hmm. That's by design. If you know knowledge yourself and how we was placed in certain neighborhoods, especially when I'm from Yonkers, New York, there was an actual show called Show Me a Hero where they lived and all the other white folks on the other side of Yonkers. And that was by design. So you spent your whole life beefing with your brothers. You spent your whole life, beefing with that, beefing with this, beefing with that. Spent your whole life, looking at crackheads or just the worst of what black society has to do. And you go around thinking that as an adult, like that whole thing is by design. It is.
It is.
What I'm saying to you, brother, is I appreciate you for, even if there's certain things that I do disagree with you about, I really do appreciate where your head is at. I appreciate your sincerity and how genuine you are, man. Like, I really do appreciate that, man.
Hey, fam, look, we don't have to agree on everything. We can just talk about it. That's the thing. You could always call in and say, Brother Black, man, I love you, but you cracked on this one, and this is why. And I will make you a promise. Right. If you can establish why I'm fucked up on it, I not only will acknowledge that you're right, but I'm immediately going to change my thought process and cleave to where you at. I ain't got no pride, fam, when it comes to my people. If you come to me and you bring the evidence, we gonna hash it out and we gonna march together in lockstep away from this motherfucker, holding hands, side by side. I'm never gonna cancel you because you told me I'm wrong and you said, Brother Black, you just don't get it. Tell me why I don't get it, fam. Make it clear to me why I don't get it. And if you spot on, we rolling. I promise you that. So never think because we don't agree 100% on something that we can't have a substantive discussion. We brothers, we are family. If you can't talk to me and work shit out with me, fam, you can't work it out with nobody else. So definitely come to me. If there's ever anything I say that you think I need sharpening up on, or I just don't see the full scoop, like iron sharpens iron, man, so does one man sharpen another. Bring that to me. Come to me and let us have this discussion so that we could get to a place of understanding where we walking in lockstep, where we walking side by side. Ain't no need for no drama, no fuckery, no backstabbing or anything. I'm not saying you will be on any of that, but I'm letting you know the door is open, fam. You always welcome to call and chop it up with me and ask me about X, Y, and Z and have a discussion. Most definitely.
Hey, man. See, now, on this part of the conversation, I might be a bit of a hypocrite, but it's necessary, especially dealing with today's times. What do you do when your brothers actively, the key word here is actively, undercut you?
What do you do when they actively undercut you? Protect yourself. Protect yourself. And what I mean by that is just what I'm saying. Protect yourself. If that means that you got to stay the fuck away from them, fam, stay the fuck away from them. If that means that they got to catch paws, they catch paws. Like, at the end of the day, fam, self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Yeah, that's all.
Now, I'm not saying that if you can't show grace, right? In other words, fam, if there's a beef between you and me, I would rather show you grace and give you the opportunity to make shit right, you know what I'm saying, than to not, right? Fuck doing that for white folks and if I can't do that for you, I ain't doing it for nobody else. But at some point, we got to stop with the discussion, and either you're on board with what I'm on, or I'm on board with you, or we need to part ways. Right? You got to protect yourself, fam. I'm not ever going to tell you to roll over for niggas that you done sat there and schooled for months and days and weeks and years and shit. And then when the fuckery come down, they want to act like they don't know. You know, class is over.
Right. Well, that's my point right there. Like, you sit there, you watch, mainstream media, we talk about, Roland Martin and Angela Rye and these people. Yes, we're supposed to ignore them, but at a certain point, you could tell that they actually are going against us, because they can't be that intelligent and be that naive as to what's going on to us as a black society.
Oh, absolutely.
And if that's the case, then, you know what I mean? That's the case, then I just feel as though they got to be dealt with. Anybody who has a platform and who's actively harming us,
they got to be addressed.
In any way, they got to be dealt with.
Exactly. If you thought that was where we differ, you are sadly mistaken. I'm all for that, fam. Trust me. The greater battles we're gonna fight are actually gonna be a lot of them from within. There's a lot of motherfuckers who have vested interest in maintaining the status quo, where we stay on the bottom and they get their little piece of the crumbs from the masses' table. Them motherfuckers need to get smashed, and we need to be unapologetic about it. You see what I'm saying? That's it. Period. So no, I absolutely agree with you on that.
Yup. All of that. Like, this dude Charlemagne, like, he don't speak for black society, but I mean, let's be real. If you got a platform, you have a platform. You know what I mean? A lot of people is listening. And there's a responsibility that comes with that, because it's not for the people who knows, it's for the people who don't know.
I feel
Usually you are influenced by what you hear first.
But you know what though? That requires, I'm gonna tell you something. That requires two parts though, if I may. Right. Let me, because you're right. But there's a 2-part play to this. The first part is on people like me, right? I produce content for my people. So I have a responsibility myself to be humble and to understand that, yes, I do have an influence, and that I need to be responsible about the direction in which I exercise that influence. In other words, I have to be accountable to myself, and I have to be accountable to you, right? Okay, now, but there's a second part to that. You as a content consumer have to start exercising more discernment. Not everybody who has a platform is worth fucking listening to, right?
That's true.
It's not that you hate them niggas, or you don't want to support them, but not every voice is worth supporting. Not every opinion means something. It's all right to look at somebody, listen to what they got to say, and turn to them and tell them to their face, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. It's all right. It's all right for you to say, you know what, I'm not listening to that nigga, man. He's crazy. He's leading us down the primrose path, right? So there's 2 parts to that. Yes, we as content creators, as information providers, as inspiration providers, have to take that responsibility and be humble as fuck. Like, to me, it's awe-inspiring that I even have anybody watch me. I'm not kidding you, fam. I'm consistently blown away. If you ask my family, they would tell you I usually have nerves before every broadcast, and I've been doing this for years. Why? Because I know the overwhelming responsibility that I hold as somebody who people listen to, right? So I take that with humility and an understanding that I need to make sure that if I can't guide you right, that I don't at least steer you wrong, right? But our people need to start being a lot more judicious and a lot more discerning about who it is that they give their eyeballs, their time, their minds, their hearts, their money to. Not everybody is worth supporting. And that's just factual. That's not me hating or pocket watching and this, that, and the third. What that is just simply understanding that with limited time and limited resources, some things are not the best use of that time and resources. You feel me? So that's what I'm gonna say on that, fam. But I'm gonna let you have the last word, bro. Go ahead.
Nah, I agree with you, man. You hit everything right on the nail, man. I agree with you 100%. I do. It's just, you know, in these times, in this day and age, man, more so than ever, like I said, we about to get hit hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For those of us who know about what's to come with the Biden administration and how we about to be undercut by all this immigrant mess and
Yeah.
how we I mean, we did a show already talking about us black people being treated as, what is it, third class citizens, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Where you were talking about how the immigrants, the illegals, have more rights than felons. And you know what? I researched that, and I was like, well, damn, they do. If that's the case, then, man, like, we're about to be wiped out of existence in America. And at the end of the day, like, this is our land more than anybody.
Facts.
It really is. And with that said, where I was going with the whole, you know, people having to be dealt with, I was thinking about the Haitian Revolution. I was thinking about what did they do when they had to free themselves. The first people they had to turn on was the mulattoes or whoever was, you know, ratting them out. They had to turn on their own first in order for them to go after masters. They had to.
Yeah.
They had to actively turn on themselves or the people who was considered traitors within that race before they went after masters, so they won't be undercut in any type of way.
The thing is, I want you to understand one thing before you go. I just want you to understand one thing. We have to be our most discerning when we make that determination, because you can only make that determination once. Right? It's like the old adage goes, measure twice and cut once. I would rather assume or err on the side that this motherfucker is just simply ignorant and don't know what the fuck they talking about than to assume right away that they're an active enemy of ours. Right? So while I do agree that we need to clean house and we need to clean it more sooner than later, we had damn better be careful how we do it. Because I can guarantee you, one thing that white supremacy love to see us do is fight amongst ourselves. Excuse me. And believe it or not, they're hoping right now that there's a split, that there is a group of black folk who look at other black folk and be like, I can't stand them niggas. They expect that from us. We need to do the hard thing. We need to do the hard thing, the thing that they don't expect.
I feel like what you're saying is true. And I feel like it is playing by the rules. But one thing I would say about this is, if we take emotions out of it, I respect the code that white supremacy has, because it's all about the end game with it. It's not about morals.
Yep.
It's not about respect.
Absolutely.
What's the bottom line? You know
Absolutely.
What I mean?
No, I couldn't agree with you more. Like everybody want to talk about how evil the white supremacist is. And I say this to them. Why ain't you evil then? But on behalf of your people. Why you gotta be respectable when you live in a land of devils? Don't make sense to me.
That's where I'm coming from.
This shit don't make sense to me. We gotta be angels, but we living in a land of devils. Fuck that. I'm just as devilish as they are. When it comes to me and mine, when it comes to seeing black babies survive, when it comes to seeing black women survive, black men survive and get our due, I'm just as capable of being dirty than a motherfucker as anybody else. I don't have no morals. I don't have no pride. I don't have no respectability. I don't give a fuck what needs to be done. I do not give a fuck. And I'm with you on that one. We got to stop playing this game where we look at them and be like, oh, them evil white supremacists. Be evil for yourself then. Be evil for your people.
You got to. We got to throw, like, as amongst each other, yes. Amongst other brothers who's on code and other sisters who's on code. When I say other brothers, y'all know what I mean. Any black person on code, specifically, yes, we have to practice a level of principles and codes amongst each other.
Yeah, you practice your love, your code, your honor with your folk.
Right.
Everybody else can get fire, shade, and smoke. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I'm right there with you, fam. You said a word right there. You said a whole word.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, man. It's just, man.
I'm ready, fam. I'm with you. I'm ready to get it in. I'm right there with you, man. I don't give a fuck how grimy this shit's gonna get. I don't care how ugly it look. I don't care if you think I'm right or not right. I don't give a fuck. Because when they do what they do to us, they're not sitting there debating the morals and the ethics of what they doing to us. But we sitting here debating morals and ethics on how we deal with them? That don't make no sense. Our ancestors said it will continue until it's challenged with either words or blows or both. He didn't make no distinction between words and blows. Sometimes it's time for talking. Other times it's time for burning shit up.
That's a fact, man.
All we had to do is listen to the ancestors. They told us. They wrote this stuff down and they told us how to deal with these motherfuckers.
Right.
So, yeah, fam. Hey, man, I want to thank you, bro, because like I said, we on the same sheet of music, man. And if you ever, like I said, that invitation's open. If I ever say something you don't quite understand or you don't agree with, give me a call. We're going to discuss it, and we're going to have a meeting of the minds.
You know what, bro? Like, I don't mind ever chopping it up, but even when I do disagree with what separates you from a lot of other brothers, man, I see the level of how genuine you are. So I know where you're coming from.
Thank you, brother.
I mean? It's one of those things to where just because I disagree, I'm thinking that, oh man, he don't know what he's talking about. It's more so, I know, I get where you're coming from. But I just disagree with that. You know what I mean?
Yo, I definitely feel you, fam. And trust me, like I said, I have my moments too, fam. This week I've been struggling. This week my family's had to come and have interventions with a nigga, man. Because I'm telling you, I've been like, man, fuck these niggas, man. I'm cool. Like,
don't go crazy.
Seriously, like, I'm serious. Why do you think I'm offering this space for therapy for us fighters, bruh? Because I understand Dr. Mark is able to diagnose your illness because I share its symptoms, all right? You see what I'm saying? But I know that it's a symptom. I know that we are frustrated, that we are upset. Some of us are even disheartened. You know what I'm saying? And that's normal. That's all right to feel like that our own people betrayed us with this Jim Crow Joe shit. But you know what? We got to knock off the dust, right? We collectively as a people are about to hold this L. We're not separate from that. Whether we want to be or not, we're not going to be separate from our people holding this L. So we're going to have to go ahead and hold this L and set ourselves up for success moving forward. You feel me?
I feel you, and I'm gonna leave it off for one more thing, man. If you don't mind.
Go ahead, fam.
I would say this, man. We just, as far as black people go, man, like we just gotta be like you said. Like, I caught the tail end of your broadcast when you talking about building a house, and how much you really want it. You are absolutely right. Is what are you willing to sacrifice?
Man, I would wear grass skirts. I would wear grass skirts and eat dandelion greens if it meant my people are free. If we could protect and defend ourselves. Fam, I would go all the way back to the Stone Age if I had to protect you, to save the life of my little brothers and my little sisters and my family. You goddamn right. How bad do you want it?
Exactly. When you check out I don't know if you ever seen the Phil Donahue show where Sister Soldier was on there and she was going on. Yeah, she was doing her thing, but you know who said something prolific? It was a white senator dude. He said it's not about what we can do to y'all. It's about what you can do to defend yourself against us.
That's facts.
It's not about us helping you. How can you defend yourself against us? We work from a position of power. And that's how it always got to be. But see, that requires a different mindset. Because I understand, like, I've been watching the chat, and Brother Rob is going to call in, and we're going to have a discussion. But Brother Rob, you good, fam. Matter of fact, go ahead and drop off. Brother Rob, give me a couple of minutes to speak on a topic, and then if you want to call in, I'll have you. And thank you, brother, for your call, man. I appreciate you. No problem. All right, brother, take it easy.
You too. Peace. Brother Rob is saying that we can't operate from a position of doom and gloom. And I agree with him. Absolutely agree with him. But the question isn't, that we should, but how do we not operate from that position of doom and gloom? The only way we don't operate from that position of doom and gloom is if we let go of some key illusions that we as black people have. Now, what are these narratives? What are these stories, these illusions? The illusion that primarily keeps us in doom and gloom is that we need to stop. We need to get them to stop hurting us. Fam, they're going to hurt us because they can, first of all. Second of all, they have no incentive not to. So the question for us isn't how do we stop them from, how do we make them not hurt us? The question is how do we stop them from hurting us? How do we defend ourselves, right? How do we protect ourselves? At the end of the day, we only can depend on us. So if you understand that from balls to bones, as they say, from garters to guts, then the question of, man, how do we make white folks, not hate black people is a question you'll never ask. You won't give a fuck if they hate black people. I don't care if they hate us. I don't care. I don't care if they love us. I don't give a fuck if they want to eat with us, go to church with us, work with us. I don't care if they want to live around us or not. I don't care. Only thing I care about is what can I do to make sure that when they step up, they get knocked the fuck back down. What can I do that when they get froggy, they can catch a fade? That's all I care about. And that's a completely different mindset, family. That's not a mindset from gloom and doom. That's an honest acknowledgement of your capabilities and your resources and marshaling those capabilities and resources to your collective defense. That's a warrior's mindset. A warrior doesn't go into battle and go, oh man, all I got is this knife and they got guns and they gonna kill us. We're doomed. No, a soldier goes on the battlefield with a knife and he takes that knife and he makes spears and he takes that knife and dig holes and make, spike traps. And he takes that knife and he weaves up fences and create fire zones and perimeters where he can maneuver. He creates positions where he's able to force multiply himself. If all we got is a knife and we're going up against white supremacy, that doesn't automatically mean that we're doomed. But it does mean that we damn well better be past masters at how we utilize our limited resources. It doesn't automatically mean we lose. But it means that you can't rest on your laurels, that you can't sit here and pretend that you can just do this little thing over here and everything gonna be all right. You feel me? So Brother Rob is right in that respect. The only way you stop operating from a position of gloom and doom is when you make the defense and the care and concern of your people your primary concern, not whether or not these motherfuckers love us or they like how we doing things or anything like that. Respectability killed more Negroes than the atom bomb. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Go ahead, brother Rob, call in, fam. 425-296-1980 is the number, fam. I know Raider J. Don't be frustrated though, bruh.
I know Raider J.
Yo, is this whoa, make sure to turn down your background, Brother Rob. Is this you?
Yeah, this me.
Yeah, go ahead, fam. So hopefully before you called in, I addressed some of what I wasn't trying to steal your thunder. I was letting you know where my position is. So go ahead, fam. The floor is yours.
All right, 10-4. Yeah, I never take it that way, and I practice the full agreement, so I don't take it personally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all living in our own dream, fam.
Yeah. But I do not take anything that you would say. I know that you saying it either encouragement, you saying it to educate me, or redirect me. So I just don't take it that way.
I appreciate you, fam. So what's on your mind, man? Where you at in this shit?
Yeah. I was, I've been chopping it up with brothers all day, and I wanted to talk about the optics of the election and how things played out and how we could use the optics of this election to use that as political, like bullets in a gun, if you will.
Right.
To go at Kamala and go at Joe Biden with what they just said publicly, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, here it is. If let's say, for instance, we playing along, we we sheep, you know what I'm saying, and hey, you know what I'm saying, the election played out the way that Democrats want, and Republicans, they really upset this weekend, and hopefully they don't go and start rioting. That would be terrible. Let's take the instance we playing along with the game, right?
Right.
Because this is what we want them to believe. So if you practice the art of war, you make your enemy not want to fight you.
Absolutely.
If I can defeat my enemy in battle, what it's going to do is make him look at my tactics and then say, what do I need to do better? And then he's going to come back. He's going to tell his son how to come back, so on and so forth. Right?
Right.
But if I make them believe that I am not their enemy,
then you never have to fight a war in the first place. You better preach, bruh.
Tenfold. So now, let's look at the optics of the election. So we have a sitting president. Let everybody understand, incumbent presidents lose between 5 to 3 popularity points in every election. Every incumbent president from the inception of this nation has lost 5 to 3 popularity points in every election. And that go all the way back to George Washington.
Right on.
Right? So boom. Donald Trump lost a couple of points, being the incumbent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because he wasn't the outsider no more. He got a record that we can look at this point. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Tenfold. Again, I'm focused on the optics because this is politics. What is seen is believed. That what is seen and what is heard, my bad,
you're right,
is believed. That's what it is in politics.
Yep.
It is a nasty game, right? So, all right, second thing. Some of the things that Trump has done over his presidency over the last 3 years, namely the pandemic and his handling of it, might have knocked his points down even more.
Yep.
Right? And so, boom, that's another reason why potentially he lost this election.
Yep.
The third point, the reason why Trump might have lost the election, his messaging. All his messaging for over the last 90 days, everybody in politics, if you study political science, you know that the last 90 days of any election is the most crucial.
Everybody makes their decision, their final decision within the last 90 days of any campaign. Like they can say whatever they want, but there were still people that were undecided up to a week before the election. Not many this year, but there was still some. No
doubt. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, right? But Trump's messaging is what I want to focus on. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, to concede your point, right? Politically, Trump's messaging was effective. Now, was it effective on us? Probably not. You know what I mean? It's not like we said, "Hey, make America great again" in the circles that we move in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that shit was effective.
As a motherfucker. It was simple, succinct, to the point, effective as hell.
Exactly. And his messaging was to be very direct. Hey, I don't trust this mail-in balloting. Please go out and vote the day of the election. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, let's take a look at the things that worked against him but worked for the Democrats.
Yep.
Right? Joe Biden for the last 6 months, not the last 90 days, but for the last 6 months, has been saying, vote any way you would like to, and legally mail-in voting has been on the books for the last 70 years.
Absolutely. Jim Crow Joe knows one key factor that a lot of people didn't really discuss, and that is that the more people vote, the more it benefits Democrats, the modern day Democrats, which is why they press voting so hard, right? They know that the more people come out, because the Republicans are pretty much a monolith, and the Democrats try to do what they call the big tent, even though it's bullshit. They all corporatists, right? But they try to portray themselves as the party of the big tent. So if you got a big tent party, the more people come out, the more likely that particular voter is a part of your big tent and thus likely to vote for you. So of course it makes sense that Jim Crow Joe Biden is going to say, I don't give a fuck about COVID. Get out there and vote in person if you got to vote in person. And if you can vote by mail, vote by mail. And hell, if we find a way for you motherfuckers to vote by email, we're going to find a way. Like, that made perfect sense.
And I want to say traditionally, in the last 4 cycles, mail-in voting has overwhelmingly favored Democrats.
Yep.
In the last 4 cycles, last 4 presidential cycles, leading all the way back to the second election of George Bush.
Yep.
It has overwhelmingly favored Democrats. So Joe Biden's messaging and literally the things that I mentioned about President Trump with some of the things that he did during his presidency. This is just a sidebar. Him being impeached, Mark, didn't even come up.
Nope, not at all. I'm telling you, fam, like, Joe Biden right now should be fucking ashamed. I'm just going to keep it a buck. This is my opinion, Brother Rob. You can agree or disagree. But Joe Biden need to take a look in the mirror and slap the shit out of himself. Because you ran against a motherfucker who was impeached, who is still under investigation by multiple jurisdictions for multiple shit, that done had whistleblowers quit his administration and write tell-all books telling all the business, right? All the business, who got caught on tape during a global pandemic, clearly demonstrating that he not only played it down, but continued and will continue to play it down. And you couldn't win in a landslide? You couldn't take this motherfucker and run with it like a dog with a bone? Joe Biden he got no right whatsoever to claim a goddamn mandate. No right at all.
Hey, now the only way I'm speaking in terms of integrity, in which Joe Biden would have been able to double down on that, is if he would have brought it up in those debates that they had. I realized that the first one was a shit show, right? But during the shit show, that's when, because it's bad form to bring up somebody else's bad tidings in a fucking debate. That's just the truth, right?
But the first debate, Trump wasn't coming out to debate. Trump was coming out to be the chaos agent. And it was clear from how he operated from word say go, right? And you know that it was clear from that point, because I'm going to tell you, while I think that, and I'm loath to say it, Biden kind of won the first debate by default. Trump was just fucking nuts during that first debate. Biden got his ass kicked in the second debate.
Now, this is my issue, and this is why I've been so active on YouTube all day, right?
Yeah.
Biden's victory is not an L for the black community. I want to say that one more time.
You're going to have to provide some serious fucking evidence for that, Brother Rob. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying you got some heavy lifting ahead of you, fam. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been talking about it pretty much all day. All right. So now let's take a look at our traditional relationship with the Democratic Party, and let's think about the flip side of this thing.
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, before I start justifying my point, let's talk about the flip side of it. Let's say, for instance, Democrats start routinely winning elections without the black vote. What would that mean to black people?
What that would mean for black people is that we've essentially been replaced as a bloc in the Democratic Party.
Politically speaking.
That's correct. Politically speaking, it would mean the end of any possible influence over the Democratic Party.
Economically, because we don't have any foothold, any political standing, if a party won an election without us, right? Economically, politically, that would be devastating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one side of the argument.
But now, wait, pause, because I agree with you. But as a counterpoint, that also would be true if we moved en masse and started voting for the Republicans, right? So you're absolutely right in that the fact that the Democrats consistently concede that they can only win with us, that's a good thing. That is not an L to us as a people per se, right? But that same thing is true if every single black person in this country started voting en masse in 80-90% rates for the Republican candidate. Right? So I wanted to throw that out there because I get where you at, and you're perfectly, absolutely right. That part of this is not the L. That's actually a good thing, right? We do not want to be politically irrelevant. So you're absolutely right in that case. But just to clarify, that would be true even if we were voting Republican too. Okay, so please continue, fam.
Absolutely. And let me say out loud that if Republicans had a platform or agenda or policies that favored black people, and you know, we lived in a reverse world where, you know, black people are Republican. Please understand, you know, what I'm about to say, I know it's somewhat controversial, right? I know it kind of go against the grain.
Go ahead, fam.
But the optics of it. Remember, I had talked about the optics,
right?
So it's like we watching an overtime goddamn football game, right? And Tuesday night, oh shit look bad for Biden. The whole map is red. Oh shit, we're bleeding, right?
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, when you wake up in the morning,
shit looking blue than a motherfucker.
Michigan is about to be delivered to Biden. Oh, Michigan is delivered to Biden. This is a devastating blow. Devastating. Wednesday morning was devastating to the White House.
Well, you ain't bullshitting.
Devastating. Why? Because Trump needed Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania for sure in order to get 270.
Absolutely.
But when Michigan didn't come in for him, that shit was devastating, right? But he still had hope because Pennsylvania was 600,000 votes down. Let's keep in mind the law. Now, the law that they got in Pennsylvania and Georgia say that they cannot count. They can't count a mail-in vote until the last vote is counted. Now, take into account what I said.
Yep.
That overwhelmingly, mail-in voting in the last four national elections has overwhelmingly
favored the Democratic candidate.
Benefited Democratic. So the Republicans in that state, and if you look at how CNN covered it, the state of Pennsylvania is primarily red, right? They passed a law that said you couldn't count mail-in votes until the last vote is cast. So now, the optics of this election, in this cycle, right?
Yeah.
The optics, one more time, that the black vote in Philly and the black vote in Atlanta is what delivered the presidency to Joe Biden. Joey B, if you want to call him that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I get it. The optics definitely. Okay, so I'm with you so far. The optics definitely look as if we were the motherfucking golden knight that came riding over the hill in the midst of what looked like a slaughter and swept the battlefield. No doubt. I'm with you on that.
Right.
Now,
all right,
so how then though is that not an L when it comes to how we know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is likely to operate in spite of that?
Tenfold. So let me pause right here and say out loud to the listening audience that Brother Rob is not naive. I'm not lost on the crime bill. I'm not lost on, the vice president-elect, Miss Harris from California, who has done evil to our people over the past in every position that she's been in, and that she slept to the top. And none of that is lost on me. I'm simply talking politics. That's all I'm talking.
Okay.
All right. So let me go back to justifying my point. Right? So now Democrats know for a fact they can't win Pennsylvania without the Philly vote. They can't win Georgia without blacks coming out to vote en masse. They can't win it. Right?
Right.
And Georgia has not. They covered it on CNN, and we need to timestamp that. Look, right? They have not flipped Georgia since Bill Clinton. Right?
Right.
So now, if Democrats are to continue to win national elections, what they'll need is the black vote. This is simply optics, everybody. Simply because that's not numerically true.
No,
right?
of course. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Numerically speaking, that was depth, but that's what the fuck it looks like. I'm right there with you. Now, you still have to make the point as to then how is that likely to matter with Biden, with Biden and Harris's traditional propensity to harm black lives under their watch. How is any of that apropos to preventing that which we know they're likely to embrace?
Tenfold. So now, I feel like we did overreact when this Ice Cube drama got into the algorithm, right? And we could parlay that overreaction into a political end with Biden and Kamala Harris. They publicly said, Ice Cube admitted that they publicly said that they would meet with us after the election. And so because we have delivered the election to them optically speaking, right, that we should have a seat at the table. At this point, this is where we would deliver resources to our grassroots. Our grassroots need to become way more educated in getting ahead of the curve. What is the curve that Brother Rob is talking about? Green technology is ahead of the curve. If you are trying to teach coding to your children, that's great and good. But possibly they could come up with, an application or something like that.
Okay, Brother Rob, pause. Brother Rob, pause. Because I agree with you on about green technology, but you're kind of moving the goalposts, right? We're talking about politically speaking, right? What you're talking about is economic, and hold up, fam. Let me speak. Because you're absolutely right. And I'm actually going to do a broadcast where I discuss the need for us to start embracing getting brothers and sisters involved in green tech, right? So you and I are on the same page on that. But that's not the question at hand. We are proposing that based off of past performance of these two candidates in particular, no, actually they're not candidates. If they are president-elect and vice president, they are the winners. This will be the next administration. Based off of the previous actions of the two members of this administration, how are we not holding an L, having even optically came out and essentially gave them our vote with no requirement whatsoever that they provide us anything in response, in return for our support? How is that not an L?
Well, I can see that point that it is a L because we didn't have a demand set at the table and it is agreed before the election. That is an L.
That is a huge L, fam. Because at this particular point, they can acknowledge all they want. Now, I'm just speaking politically, right? Not talking about the economic piece, because that's a conversation we definitely got to have, right? But just politically speaking, what this looks like at this particular point is that all Biden has to do is acknowledge, right, which he's readily done. Biden is a fucking half brain dead, demented little troll, but he's not completely stupid. If he's got somebody in his ear that said, this is the time you should probably say thank you to black people, Biden's going to take that order like a good little pet and go, oh, okay. And he's going to come out and say something nice about black people. So we already knew that if they bought, even if they understood it was just optics, at this point, some acknowledgement is going to be required. Biden has already done that. According to what I see in the chat, Biden has already came out and said openly and publicly, black people saved me. Thank you, Black America. Blase skippity woo woo. Okay, so he's done that. But now that we have no public promises on the record of Biden saying that he would support anything regarding a black agenda, as a matter of fact, what we do have on the public record is Kamala openly saying, I'm not supporting anything that's going to specifically directly benefit black people, right? And she's his VP. He chose her. So you can reasonably assume that he's on board with that same damn message. Now that he's gone ahead and acknowledged that we helped them get the L, what other incentive does he have to do anything other than that acknowledgement? Because he didn't even owe us the acknowledgement, right? But that makes it look like that he went above and beyond. He didn't have to come out and say, it was the niggers that helped me. Thank you, niggers. He didn't have to do that, right? So now he looks like the great statesman acknowledging, black people, put him over the top. He's just gained more political capital. Meanwhile, what political capital did we gain?
Right. And at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying. Potentially, because of the angle, they did say that they was going to publicly, and that was my only thing, that we have two angles, politically speaking, right? Politically speaking, because optics and what people say publicly is what you can hold them to, politically speaking.
So we can hold the Biden administration to a meeting with Ice Cube, and they'll go and have a sit down, right? Because I don't think the meeting's going to happen. But let's say that for the sake of argument, you're perfectly correct. That was something that was mentioned openly, publicly by Ice Cube that was not repudiated by the Biden administration, right? So we can then all flash and say, okay, Biden, when you going to have that sit down with Ice Cube? Now, we could do that. But here's a problem. How many Negroes went in on Ice Cube because he had the temerity to offer his contract with Black America, not just to the Democrats, but to the Republicans. So you don't even have a critical mass of Black people that will sit there and say, oh yeah, now you got to go meet with Ice Cube. We didn't back Ice Cube like that. There was only a certain number of us that said, wait a minute, Ice Cube was just trying to shop around to get the best deal for our people. We were the minority that fucking backed Ice Cube. The vast majority of Black America said that Ice Cube was a race traitor. So even that one thing that we have on public record that they didn't repudiate, which was a meeting with Ice Cube, Black people in the main has said, fuck Ice Cube. So why would we even push for Biden to meet with Ice Cube?
I would say this is why. Right, is because if you heard him, I don't know if you, I'm sorry if you didn't get a chance to hear the interview that he had on Tone Talk.
Oh, I did, fam. I sure did. Hey, look, I still watch Tone. I still watch Yvette. I like I said in my last broadcast, I keep myself separate so as to not have things that I might say or do be applied to them. But I support ADOS 100 motherfucking %. All right. So, yes, I still watch Tone. I still watch Yvette. And I did see that interview with Ice Cube and Tone. So go ahead, fam.
Yeah. And I felt like he was almost echoing a lot of the things that us as Black YouTube and Black media are looking for. And he was definitely on the reparation side of the argument.
Oh, no doubt. So, look, that interview with Cube was all I needed to convince me that whatever problems I might have with the contract for Black America, I don't have a problem with Cube. I love the brother. I've been a supporter of his from day fucking one, right? My point is this. You're right. Only if we had a critical mass of Black people that were willing to back Cube's effort to have that sit down with Joe Biden. But Cube is, at this point in the Black community, basically fruit of the poison tree. You have too many Black people that have been influenced by other influencers, academics, the pundits, the bootlicks, that basically called Cube a traitor. You had people like D.L. Hughley, who's a piece of shit. No Black person should listen to D.L. Hughley. But D.L. Hughley is still hugely influential amongst a certain subset of Black people, basically called Cube a traitor. You had Ice-T, who again, why you would listen to Ice-T about anything political is beyond me. But Ice-T went in on Ice Cube about his meeting with the Republicans and so on and so forth. So we don't even have yet a critical mass of Black folk that actually even support Ice Cube enough for us to make the push to hold Biden's camp to the fire to talk to Ice Cube. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you're wrong. I agree with you 100%. That's a public thing that was not repudiated. Biden and them didn't come out. They say, no, we won't talk to him after the election or whatever. You're right. It's after the election. Should we hold him to it? I agree we should. But we're going to end up having to fight more Black people to get Biden to talk to Ice Cube than we're going to have to fight Biden. Like, this is a fight that's going to be one that's uphill, and one of which, even if they do have the sit down, right?
Right. Well,
we can't be.
I think,
go ahead, fam.
Yeah, I think, the two angles that I was talking about, we can literally force them, you know what I'm saying, to come to
I agree that we can force them.
I shouldn't say force.
No, I'm agreeing with you. We can force them, but we're going to have to fight a whole lot of Negroes to be doing this. Now, here's the question that I have. This is not saying let's do it or not do it. This is the question I have. Is it a worthy use of our time and energy to fight all these Negroes that think Cube is a sellout, bootlick, a buck dancing coon who sold us out to the Republicans? Is that a fight that's worth having and is effective use of our time, effort, and resources. Now, that's something that I think is worthy of discussion. And so I want to thank you, brother, for even making it a point of discussion, right? Because I do believe that question is something that is worthy of discussion. By the way, shout out to Code Ref. I see you, fam. But the thing is that's a topic we're going to have to discuss, because if we ultimately determine that it is not worth it, that's an L we're going to have to hold too. You feel me? So, I Brother Rob, I'm glad at least that we're on the same sheet of music in that we do have a potential lever. I'm questioning whether or not we'll have enough hands on that lever to move it. That I'm not saying it's not a point. I'm not saying it's not a lever we can't work. I'm saying that we're going to have a slog on our hands to get enough bodies behind that lever to move it in the direction we need it to move. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad that we had that part.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the potential is there. And so,
you're absolutely right. The potential is definitely there.
Yeah, nothing in my mind or in my immediate surroundings is going to change now that Joe Biden is president. Like, literally, I work on the ground. I work with families and with kids here in Chicago that I
shout out to the Shy.
No doubt, man. And I mean, man, I appreciate that, man. Look, right, at the end of the day, I care about black folks, our agenda, and how we can get our resources.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. We won't ever disagree on that, fam. I can promise you that.
I think, and I'm going to just end on this. I think about our ancestor that recently passed. C.T. Vivian, right?
Yeah.
Some of us have been in his program and don't even realize that he's the founder, right? In the midst of chaos, C.T. Vivian, and when I say chaos, I'm talking about the crack era, right?
Yeah.
That was chaos.
Yeah.
Hey, people don't realize. I mean, just looking at your beard, Mark, I can say for a fact that I know that you lived through the crack era.
Boy, you ain't bullshitting, fam. I was right in the mix of it, fam.
Yeah. I put 15 of my homies in the ground.
I lost count how many cats I done seen go away doing all day. How many cats I done put in the ground. Like, seriously, if I ever stop to think about it, fam, I'll start crying and never stop. You feel me? That shit was hell.
Yeah. I got homies last 2-3 years, well, last 5 years, I'd say. That's just not coming home. You know?
Yeah.
So when people talk to me about the crime bill, right? I mean, my fault. This is gonna take a little second. Let's talk about the context in which the crime bill was passed. Right?
Yeah.
Republicans were routinely winning national elections and had control over the House and was threatening control over the Senate over Reagan's and Bush's time during the presidency, which ironically enough lined up with the crack era.
Yep.
Right. I literally remember Ronald Reagan discussing the fucking chemical reaction of mixing cocaine with powdered with baking soda on TV.
Yeah,
I remember that shit, bro. They mixed it and they seemed to get these. I remember that shit like fucking yesterday. I wish I could fucking find that shit on YouTube. Somebody needs to upload that shit, bro. But anyway, getting back to the point, right? The point is, Republicans were winning national elections on law and order. So Democrats had to come up with something. And that something was the fucking crime bill. And people, please understand, Joe Biden, right, coming out of fucking Scranton, right? These are the same white people that you would see in what's that movie that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon made. Fuck. What is the name of that movie? But anyway, these white boys did not like niggas. Okay?
No doubt.
Okay. And Joe Biden was one of those type of guys.
Yep.
So his plain talk and Bill Clinton's success with that law and order talk is what got him elected. The income, well, not at all. What's the best word to use? My fault. I've been sipping Douce. What's the best word to use? Well, it was effective for Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
This crime bill that they were proposing, and then it got passed during Bill. So what am I saying?
But hold on a second. Now pause, fam, because the 94 crime bill is the one we all know the most about. But Jim Crow Joe Biden was also in the Senate during Reagan's administration and during Herbert Walker Bush's administration. And he also was the sponsor of the 84 crime bill, the 88 crime bill. 84. There was another crime bill passed, I believe, in 86. There was the 88 and the 92 crime bill. So he had his name. When Jim Crow Joe said, I've been on every crime bill in modern day history, he wasn't lying. The 94 crime bill was just the motherfucking pièce de résistance. It was the creme de la creme. It was the magnum opus of decades of work that he had put in to be tough on crime, fam. And we need to remember that shit, because the thing is that it's easy as fuck to say, well, Reagan did this, Reagan did that. How many people know that Joe Biden was to the right of Reagan on law and order?
Yes. Yeah.
It was him that was pressing the White House and saying, you motherfucking Republicans are soft on crime. That was Joe Biden. That wasn't Democrats in general. That was one Democrat. That was Joe R. Biden.
Now, this is very important. Very important to throw into the discussion, right? We have to look at 68. 68 is the precipice, the crescendo, if you will, right? If you look at black folks need to look at this. Prison rolls before 68, right? Prison rolls, 60% was white men, 40% was everybody else. After 68 comes 72. When they look at the numbers again, now it's 60% black men, 40% everybody else. What happened in 68? Right? In 68, that's when they started occupying our neighborhoods. And this is what criminalized black life in the media. And I can point to people like John Ehrlichman. I can point to people like Paul Weyrich. You know what I'm saying? These are people who organize what we understand to be the right to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Lee Atwater and stuff. Yeah, we get it. I mean, we know that they worked to criminalize blackness in this country. But Joe Biden was elected to the Senate in 72, sat in 73. I know, because I was born in January 73. My whole life, I've had to deal with Jim Crow Joe's bullshit. 47 years. I'm 47 years old, fam. I'll be 48 in January. My whole life, I've had to deal with Jim Crow Joe Biden's embrace of rabid segregationists, his fear of an integrated black America, and his willingness to use the machinery of government to make sure that us niggas stay in our place. Mm-hmm. And he's never had to answer for that. Never. Matter of fact, in typical American fashion, Jim Crow Joe Biden has finally failed up to the goddamn top. Man. That's an L no matter how you slice it. And we were instrumental in making that happen. There's no way you can interpret this where this isn't an L for black folk. There's no way to interpret this where we're not left holding an empty bag and an L.
Mm-hmm. It's just the culture in me, bro.
No, I feel you, fam. Because, like, you know what? But when you a coach, right? Because I know I used to coach my daughter's basketball team, right? When you a coach, you know when your girls go out there on, because again, I coach my daughter's team, but when my girls went out there on that basketball court, even if they held an L, right?
Right.
I know that they gave their whole heart during our practice, when we were doing our 2-on-1 and 3-on-1 drills, when we were doing our pivot drills and stuff like that. I know, and I watched them give their all. So if they hold an L, but I know they gave it, they left it all on the court, I don't have nothing to say. But as their coach, I also know when they didn't show up for fucking practice because they wanted to go to a sleepover at their girlfriend's house, right? When they was, on some fuckery, when it come time to do the drills and the sprints and shit, right? So if they didn't give it they all out there on the practice court, and we go out there during the game day and we hold an L, I'm not gonna sit there and big them up and say, okay, girls, good job, better luck next time. No, fuck that. You didn't give it your all. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't put in the work. You don't get that rah-rah speech from the coach. And fam, I would argue, as your brother and one who loves you, our people don't deserve no rah-rah speech right now, fam. We did not go out here and make this decision clear-eyed, strategically. This was us reacting in fear because white folks was mad and saying orange man bad. And since our pet white folks was on the orange man bad tip, we all came out for that. That's the truth of the matter. And that shit don't deserve no rah-rah moments from coach. So I'm asking you, fam, to be the coach we need right now. And don't big these niggas up. This is an L. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. No pep talks this time.
Yeah, I agree. And I say this. In the words of Stokely Carmichael, and end on this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Stokely Carmichael, better known to others as
it's Kwame Ture.
Right. He said, if you organize a little bit, you get a little bit done.
We are at the innovator stage of the marketing curve, not even the early adopter stage. Many blacks resisting are laggards. It's too soon for them.
You damn right. You damn right, fam. We're gonna have to keep doing it. We're gonna have to keep doing it. Like I said, I'm mad as fuck, but I'm still here for the work. I'm here for this fight. Yeah. Biden and Kamala is getting all the smoke. So it is what it is.
I'm just coming from the perspective of a man that literally teach U.S. history. And so it is very difficult to explain the U.S. policy, black folks policy, coons that might disrupt the black folks policy, being misunderstood, people that ain't heard and what the agenda should be. That is very difficult. You know what I'm saying?
We got a lot of work to do. And at this particular point, fam, it's not, the big problem isn't so much that we have so much work to do. The big problem is we don't really have much time in which to do it. Everybody's talking about marathons. I'm sorry, but at some point we're going to have to start running because we don't have much time. The finish line is actually coming up. And what's the finish line? The economic degradation and the complete and utter irrelevance of us as a distinct and unique lineage of people in the United States of America. That's the finish line. And if we ain't careful, we're going to run right through that motherfucker thinking we got all the time in the world. So, fam, Brother Rob, I appreciate the call, man. You brought up some great points and some key discussions, especially on green energy. Don't worry, fam. We're going to have that discussion. We're going to have that conversation because I'm all for that. And I love you, bro. I appreciate you taking the time to share your information with us today, man.
All right, no doubt. Hey, man, check me out, bro. I'm going to show everybody what I've been doing in consumer ed. My kids been building the city in green technology.
That's what's up, fam. Hey, matter of fact, brother, let me make sure that you gonna pop a link or something in the chat for us so we can examine that information.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna actually create the stream and I'm gonna do it tomorrow after the bed.
Yeah, leave a comment under the stream with the links to your people's your kids' information and stuff because we definitely need to see that, bro. And I thank you again, man, for everything that you do.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Peace, man. Great call from the brother. See, you know what, fam? We can have discussions and we can have conversations without being disagreeable, right? We can have, me and Brother Rob had a great discussion. And it turns out that barring some particular assumptions, we both on the same sheet of music. By the way, I want to say thank you to Sister Taj and read out her comment. We are at the innovator stage of the marketing curve, not even the early adopter stage. Many blacks resistant are laggards. It's too soon for them. Sister Taj, while I can agree with you in general, like I said, time is not on our side. And I'm certain you agree with me on that, right? And Code Ref is saying we got to keep pushing. I agree. I mean, every lever that we can get our hands on, we should be utilizing, fam. I'm just simply saying that these bootlicks, these butter biscuit chasers, and their attacks on Ice Cube did not make our job easier at all. They basically hamstrung the fuck out of us. Cause now we not just having to convince Biden. That would be one thing if we just had to put pressure on the Biden administration to meet with Ice Cube. That could be relatively done very quickly. But instead, we're gonna have to fight with every nigga with an opinion for months before we can then take and put pressure on the Biden administration. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm questioning whether or not that's a good use of our time, energy, and resources. That's what I'm saying, fam. But fam, it's getting late. We 3 hours in. Fam, if we need more political therapy, you know your man Mark Black, Dr. Mark Black has got you, right? I want to give a shout out to everybody who called in. I want to give a shout out to everybody who supported me via the Super Chat. Sister Taj, Tablicker, Morpheus came through. Everybody that came through with the Super Chats, I appreciate you. Fam, it's time to, it's like I said, class time is over, right? We got so much to do and very little time to do it. And I know that's not what some of y'all want to hear. That's not what some of y'all want to hear. Some of y'all want to hear, hey, you know, we can ramp up and we got time. No, we don't, fam. Coronavirus changed everything. 2053 was already bad enough. But when it's looking like 2033 or 2023, fam, before we find ourselves politically broken, our backs broken as a people in this country, we ain't got time for the bullshit. Teaching time is over. Right? And you're right, AJ. I finally get what Yvette was saying when she was saying, I got a whole catalog of information. Go back and watch. Fam, I talk on every subject. I talk on child rearing. I talk on economics. I talk on land-based acquisition. I talk on politics. I got a whole catalog. You feel me? Right? So if you need to get up on your advocacy, if you need to get up on what's going on and be able to hit the ground running, there's resources out there. But at this particular point, it's incumbent upon you. We ain't got time to sit around and be trying to, you know, do 101 type shit. We need to ramp it up to 201, to 301, to 401. We need to graduate. We need to matriculate, fam. And you either have done the work, put in the effort to understand what needs to be done and how to do it, or unfortunately in this school, some children do get left behind. And it is what it is. So, beloved family, thank you again for another wonderful broadcast, fam. This was one for the books. I know we needed our political therapy, but like I said, fam, I'm back on my James Baldwin and Ida B. Wells shit. I'm back on my rage and tooling up and getting ready for the work. Congratulations to Jim Crow Joe Biden. Expect us. Look for us. Because I'm coming. You got a debt that you're now responsible for, Jim Crow Joe. Expect us. Expect us. So, fam, with that, as always, fam, I want to thank you all again. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend. A great weekend. Brother Rob is going to post some information under the video. Make sure y'all check for that comment underneath the video. He's going to talk about Chatham Academy in the Chi. Big ups to the brother. He's on the ground doing the work or whatever the case may be. Sister Taj is doing chapter work. Shout out to you, sis. I know you be getting it in. Fam, it's time for Jim Crow Joe to see us. We got to dance. Expect us. Because we on our way. We not letting you rest. From day one, we in your ass. So fam, until the next broadcast, I love you all, and I want to leave you all with love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.